the consent agenda review and the work session. I did have a question. Does anybody in the room have a comment or question first? Don't worry, we'll find one for you. It was in fairgrounds. They're asking that we waive the fee. Item number 18, approve request from Sage Hill Veterinarian Clinic and Columbia Basin SNAP to waive fees for the use of fairgrounds buildings for the purpose of a spay and neuter clinic at reduced fees. Which I'm 100% for reducing the fees. But because there's still a fee, this is where I'm not sure. Do we take maybe miscellaneous general government or something, maybe one of our other accounts to help pay for that? So it's actually accounted for, and so there's, or do we just let it go? No, because we really try not to do the free things.
Right. What have they done in the past? Haven't they had them up there before?
Yeah, and I don't know if we've just, I was just thinking, if we've done this for free. When Commissioner Stevens was here, he would, like maybe if the sheriff's office or somebody would use that, he's like, you know, we've got to quit just doing everything for free there. You know, they still have to have a revenue. So even though it's backfilled, the sheriff's office or current expense, just pay it and then, you know, so that the fairgrounds can actually recoup some fees for putting that in. But either way, we could just not do anything or backfill it, maybe with one of our accounts that we have. I think we take the fee that we pay
Their fee for the building or something. That way.
Yeah, what we pay, Caitlin, is it miscellaneous general government that we pay our fee to the animal shelter?
Yes.
It is, so we could use miscellaneous general government. Or just like I said, just leave it.
I'm okay with either way. I mean, yeah, it's nice to have the fairgrounds make some kind of an income from it.
Well, we get mad when they're not generating revenue, and then we're the ones like, oh, this is free, this is for free, this is for free.
Well, it's good for the whole community though. I mean, getting their animals spayed and neutered.
Oh, I think it's great. I just didn't know. We can wait for Rob when we get ready to discuss that. So that was on the agenda, that was my only question that I had, or comment. We're getting rid of 44 ballistic vests. I was just curious, how do we, do they go to the landfill? What do they do?
I know, he told me all about this actually.
Okay,
They go to the
Caitlin.
incinerator, and the people at the incinerator have to clean everything else out. So then it is only the vests that are in the incinerator, and then somebody from the sheriff's office has to watch them get incinerated to make sure that there's no remains, that there's nothing left over. So that way people from the public can't just come and get little bits of ballistic vests.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
But they also cannot sell them to anybody else because these ones are expired and they're not good.
Okay.
They also, I'm pretty sure they get formed to the people, so they're,
Oh, so they're fitted for each person.
I believe, yes, I believe these ones.
Oh.
At least some of
Fitted,
them.
or they, kind of like a pair of shoes. They just kind of fall into place.
That's interesting.
Just one.
You know, you might be able to go with them. Get rid of them. Kevin, you didn't have any questions on the
I didn't see anything on there that was
agenda?
concerning to me.
Okay, any board discussion? We need for work session.
I had a question for you, Cindy. The vehicle use for the Japanese exchange students, do you know which one you were wanting to use?
There will be 3 people, so they do not need the Sprinter van.
Okay.
The smaller one would be perfect if it runs. Our Ford Escape
When are you picking them up?
It's at the end of April. I believe they come the 30th and leave May 3rd.
Yes.
They'll be in the Royal City area, so if something does happen, Royal City is a pretty, 20 people will stop and help them along the road if they do have an issue.
Yeah, Caitlin, we can work out the limo if it's only 3 students, like I said.
It's the interpreter, Raina, and then 2 teachers. So total is 3 people.
I think that would be a nice vehicle for them.
Yeah, we'll check and see if it's being used for anything else, any classes or anything, but I think we have a vehicle for you.
We have our,
She's ready to retire.
the Escape is escaping on us.
Escape should have retired a long time
I think
ago.
it's been replaced, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think
Clearing vehicle.
are we getting a Nissan? I can't remember what.
Well, this is new, it
Yeah.
doesn't even,
Doesn't
even
even
think
have
it-
5,000 miles on it.
Yeah, this
Oh, wow.
is a nice vehicle. This is,
Great, those are always the ones that
Yeah.
get wrecked or. Our theory is we have the Escape and the Ford Escape, so nobody wants to put miles on it or drive it. So we don't have to pay, So that would be nice to have a reliable car. Okay, I really don't have anything else, so do any of our callers have a comment or do you have any callers or?
We have 2 call-in users. You have Jerome Waywers and Shiloh Nellis. Did you want me?
Oh,
Usually we
did you
don't
want,
take public comment on
did
this.
you want to ask Cindy about the left board voting?
Oh, yes, there's 2 letters of appointment on consent this week for Left. Since Kevin is a part of that, should he abstain from that vote or is it fine for him to vote?
No, I think it's fine for him to vote.
There you go.
That was the only
I don't
question
see
I
a.
had.
What's the problem?
I wouldn't think so. It's pretty minor board.
Because most of, they make the recommendations and
Yeah.
The one is the at-large, they did not receive any other applications, so they recommended reappointment. And the cities and towns was an election that ended up in a tie, so the board did end up voting on that one. But, it was an election, so.
I think you're good to vote on that. But what do I know, Kevin? Sometimes I think that's the hard part, being in here for so long, it's like, no, it might be a conflict, yes, you're okay. Okay, well, if there's nothing else, it is 8:39 and we will go into recess until 9 o'clock. He's here. So, good morning, it is 9 o'clock, we are here with Public Works for their weekly update.
good morning. I'd like to start with our accomplishment updates by John.
So you guys have the sheet there, in our solid waste, just about 2,500 tons of disposed garbage, about 25,000 gallons of leachate on the active phase. Looks like both districts 1 and 2, we're doing grading. Areas, districts 2 and 3, we're doing some rock raking and a lot of gravel replacement, both in District 1 and 3. Crack filling has started in 2 of our districts, 2 and 3. So they're getting out there and starting our spring maintenance. We did some minor ditching in the Marine View area.
By Mardon.
Yeah, yeah. Some major ditching on 7 Northwest, not Southwest. They're in Weberville, that's southwest of Quincy. Still doing some runoff damage repair in all areas. Some road patrol for runoff damage still up in the Heartline area and north of Wilson Creek. We had some bridge repair, a girder replacement at 1 and U Northwest. District 2 is still screening sand for winter sand usage. And then they're street sweeping and cleaning from winter sand put down. District 3 is mowing in the Quincy and Mattawa areas. That's about it. Approach permit inspections, training and safety meetings and such. You guys have any questions on anything?
Like you spend a little time out there taking out the racetrack too, on the fairgrounds.
Yeah, and I think they're done now. That's as much as we can get done. We've got to get on to our crack filling and our maintenance. And then I think Tom still has some budget left for that. So if we have time this fall, we'll go back in and we're gonna close out for now and bill for what we've done. We did a repair in the parking lot by the big water tank for them.
Okay.
And then we worked on the racetrack as well. So we'll probably bill them out for that for now. And then if we have time in the fall, we'll go back in and work at it again.
What was wrong with the parking lot?
So right by the water tank, all the rain we got this spring
Okay.
was pulling up and then was running off the side down to Cascade Valley and bringing rock down onto Cascade Valley in the city's part. And so they were having to clean up the mess coming from our property. So they did a quick repair there. And we've done it before a few years ago in a different location as well, so.
You guys just had big rocks out there, or what'd you end up having to do?
What's that?
Did you add a bunch of big rocks out there so it don't wash out anymore? or
Just a lot of dirt compacted and then get it up above where it wouldn't run off that edge is likely what they hauled in. Probably material off of that racetrack likely. They
Makes
just
sense.
hauled it over there.
Sure.
And it had a bunch of rock in it. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Item number 2 for discussion is, we should have on consent next week, change number 2 to amendment 9. And this change funds the expansion and the operation of our MPE system. They've actually already done some testing on the infrastructure that was there from 2017, and so far it is all looking good. So hopefully I'll have that on consent for next week. Any questions on that? Did you have any questions for our consent items? Or mostly consumable things that we use every year? Or to call for bids?
All look good to me.
Okay. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Dave?
Yes, there's the hearing for the walkway surface maintenance today at 3:00. So I'll see you back. Then I'd like to add authorization to sign roadway certifications. So every year, by April 1st, we have to report to CRAB on the previous year. So what happens is there'll be a certification that Rob would need to sign that he's just gonna get sent. Very straightforward. But I wanted to let Rob know that it's coming. So I guess I'll email
He's just gonna be late, right?
Okay.
He should be anytime.
him. Okay. Just so that he's aware
Well,
of
do we
that.
have to, has it gone through, do we need to go through consent agenda on that or?
That's a
anything?
good question, because we went through consent agenda a month ago for certification, CRAB certifications already. The previous year, we did it kind of combined. We did one consent for that. But I don't think it would be a problem to go through consent, because as long as he signs on the day of, which is
And that's
April
the-
1st is Tuesday.
Right.
So he would have time next week. Okay, do you wanna,
So all our CRAB reports are done, except for I'm holding for the sheriff. The sheriff has to give me information on how much they spent on traffic enforcement for last year. Then I put that number in and we're all done with all our CRAB reports.
is it ready to be, the problem with these reports, they get emailed to you and if you don't sign them right away.
Exactly, you gotta sign
you
them
lose
right away or else
Then
you
you
lose
have to
them.
contact CRAB.
Yep.
Has it already been sent?
Nope, it won't get sent probably until the day of April 1st. So
Okay, so we have time to
Yeah.
put it on I think we should run it through the consent agenda because we
can
have
do, I'll prepare that consent agenda for next Tuesday. And it's always, every year, it's the last one, April 1st.
I'm
So.
glad you're helping us with that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, this is good. So we'll have that done. We won't have any CRAB reporting until the end of the year. We always report the previous year on April for what we did last year. And then we report at the end of the year, we report what we're gonna do the coming year. So there's this rolling process of it.
Checks and balances.
Exactly, twice a year where we do reporting, right? A year ahead and then a year behind. Can do, I'll have that to you for next Tuesday. And the second item is the city-county MOU is all in place, and already I'm gonna start next week, 10 hours a week, and I'm gonna make it consistent hours, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'll be here from 11:30 to 4:30. So that way everyone knows when I'll be here and they can come in, get any certifications or any questions from me, and I'll be available on Tuesday for the board meetings that, if necessary.
Okay.
So
well, glad
I
we're
think
doing
it's all gonna
it.
work out. There, I don't know if you have any other comments with the
So
city
Dave,
county
who
thing.
will do
Yes.
those crowd reports after you're not here?
So,
We have somebody else do that?
It has to be a professional engineer that does the final certification, but you can have staff do all the preparation of the work. In fact, we have Catherine now that does the majority of the preparations. And she's done that in the past.
So I believe we have an engineer on, we're looking to hire a new
Yes. And this just makes it so that there's,
transition.
Everything's
It's a
gotta be
little
fine.
time consuming finding an
Oh.
engineer.
absolutely.
Yeah, we really appreciate the city allowing us
Yes, we do.
to partner and use Dave to find somebody that.
We
really
appreciate
that.
Dave for being willing to take
Keep
on a new
it, keep
job
it
and keep
rolling,
rolling.
yeah. Everything's gonna be fine, we'll just keep it rolling, and we've delegated a whole bunch of the administrative things. And then when I come in, I'm just doing certifications and answering engineering questions. Maybe we should have done that a long time ago, actually.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, and then do we have somebody in the no comments? Okay, just seeing if we had someone in the audience that wanted to make comments. I think we're all done.
John, you want to add anything? That's it. I'm good. Do you guys have any questions?
I do. Okay, got another call on right off Adams Road, Road 3, about putting a speed limit sign on there. I know it's 50 miles an hour, but I brought it up before. They just have a lot of traffic that goes through there faster. I mean, they're driving faster than 50 miles an hour.
So
It's almost like the speed limit sign, maybe.
did they do a petition already?
No, is that what they need to do?
Well,
Petition?
yes, and so on our website, we have the road petitions. And one of the road petitions would be like a road improvement district is an example of a road petition.
Okay.
Another one is any changing in signage. And what happens with the road petition is the staff will look at it and then come back to the board with a recommendation. And in many cases, we might recommend not to do something,
Okay.
and there's reasons for that. But there's a form that's prepared, and on that form, it's scored. And you've seen this in the
Yeah.
past. So it's great, because then you as a county commissioner can take that information you're getting from staff. And ultimately, the final decision is yours,
Okay.
but staff support helps you to make a
Yes, I
decision.
will. Well, is that an opportunity to put the trailer there, the speed limit trailer? I think it happens
We
about
can-
5:36
We
AM.
can totally do that without a petition.
Okay. We
But
wanted to look and just see what the problem is. That might be, do I go visit with the sheriff's office to do that?
Or Public Works, yeah.
Rod, call it,
Okay.
good.
And either one of you as well, you could initiate that. Now, that is kind of a first level to investigate, if you will. But if they really want a sign, they're requesting that through a petition.
Okay, so I'll find the petition and then email it to them to make it easy.
It's just right on our
I
website,
know,
yeah.
but they're elderly and
Oh,
sometimes my elderly
yeah.
folks really struggle.
So a petition can be just a simple letter, handwritten,
Okay.
or an email. A petition is not some huge form, if you will. And in a strong petition, like a road improvement district, the board wants to see the majority of the people affected to sign on to that. But in the case of a sign like that, an individual can write a letter, and it can be short and sweet. That can start a petition.
John, you're making notes. Are you gonna ask them about that trailer? Or do you want me to?
I'll get hold of Rod.
Okay.
I'll have him get it out there.
So since we're on that subject of speed limits,
Yes.
I was on my way out Potato Hill Road yesterday. And before you get to the speed limit sign, there's a guy passing another vehicle. Double yellow lines, you know, probably doing 55, 60 miles an hour down Potato Hill Road. So what do we need to do to make that 35 all the way out so that there's no opportunity for people to even think about increasing their speed?
It's an excellent question. So right on, in addition to the petitions, so right on our website, it shows all the previous petitions. So 2003, 2004, 2005, 2025. So 2025, there is 2 petitions already on there, both for Potato Hill. One is for the ATV, and then one is for speed limit reduction. So what would happen is staff's supposed to review that and then get back to the board with a recommendation. That has not been done yet with that. So our lead is Zach Washburn for that, and I actually just transferred the duties over to Zach today and gave him all the example forms that I've done in the past. So that should be forthcoming. Now, don't be surprised if they come back with a slightly different recommendation then, and staff will have reevaluate it. So one example with that is if we're gonna change the speed limit for that, maybe we should change the speed limit for the entire UGA. So you're doing a global change rather than picking out one road to do it.
I would agree with that.
And
There's issues out in West or still out.
in addition to that, is there's something called 85 percentiles. So you can change the speed limit on a road, but it'll be ignored. And their human nature is a factor too. So what you do is you do a study, and the study comes back to you and it'll show you the 85 percentile. So regardless of what you put up for a speed limit, people are driving a certain speed on there. And what happens is the geometry of a road dictates that somewhat. So perfect example, Desert Air Drive is this huge wide road, and it's 25 miles per hour, but it's the size of a freeway. So it's human nature to overspeed on it. You have these huge 17-foot lanes and you don't even think about it. You're overspeeding on it because it's so comfortable, and it doesn't have very many cracks either. You don't notice your speed.
Our security guy comes chasing you.
It's 25 miles an hour, and I'll look down, and even me, I'm the county engineer, I'm looking at it, I'm overspeeding. There is a human factors element to this as well. So
Yeah.
staff will get back to you and say, hey, we totally agree, but what we should think about is restriping the lanes. You can use, there's a psychological technique where you bring the fog lines in, same pavement, just larger shoulders, and it slows people down because they're a little more comfortable because it's a little tighter lane. It's what they have done in other counties, and you'll notice that the 85 percentiles will change on a road that's been just simply remarked. Now, we have not done that in our county in the past. We have not done these techniques. There's a whole bunch of other techniques too that for adjusting overspeeding issues like that. So for example, you can also take a road and literally take out some of the pavement and make it a kind of an uncomfortable piece where it is tighter. And people just naturally slow down with tight.
Dave, don't be doing
So,
that.
people
There's some
don't like
people in
it.
the county that
They will-
we're a
they will be
county of
upset.
speeders.
We are, but that's all of us actually. So that will come back to you. You'll see that in the form that the staff will make comments on that. It's like, okay, if we're going to do this, we should think about doing it systematically, not just for one road. Because what'll happen is there will be an accident on a different road and they'll say, why'd you do it there, not there? Lawyers are great. So systematic approach, and then take into account human factors. How are we going to do it as well? You can't just change the speed limit and when people are just going to continue to speed, which is exactly that. And here you have double lines and they're still passing. If it was on an uncomfortable pass situation, they might not have done it.
Yeah, narrow that road. Put a line in it and narrow that road.
Narrow the roads. So that's the long answer, but I think at this point, it's good for you to hear some of the staff comments that will come back with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see the speed limit reduced, and maybe we put a trailer out there every once in a
Totally.
while. And
Well, and that's been a really controversial ask because those that live out there want to keep it at 50 and
Yep.
Those go to the sand dunes want to do it at 35. But
It's a
move it down,
50-50
reduce
mix.
it. It's very passionate,
I get it, but
so.
you've got that development that's gonna go out there, so you're gonna add more traffic out in that direction. It's just gonna become a bigger problem. I just feel like it's with houses that close to the road, it's just unsafe.
Well, and I think this is where I like to rely on Public Works, doing a study. So it really is like,
Another human factors technique is a radar speed limit sign. you see that being used in other areas as well.
Like,
So
okay.
you can do things with markings, you can do things with signs.
No, when I hit one of those, I'm like, oh, I can increase my speed by 10 miles an hour.
Well, it works on me. When I see that little flashing and then I see the
Like, oh,
speed,
no.
like I notice and it's human factors.
Gotta be conscious of get your
Yep.
speed limit.
Okay, and I've got another, if we're done with that.
Petitions.
Yes, ma'am.
So always refer them to our website, and a petition can be just a simple email or a letter to Public Works or the board. They can do it to either the county engineer or to the board.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Road 2 Southwest and T Southwest, I think I got the email previously and you've answered. So basically the cost share, they were gonna participate in the cost share in 2005. 5 people lived down that road. Moving forward, 2 of them backed out, so they were down to 3, so they ended up not doing the gravel to oil. And then in, I wanna say 2009, the gravel to oil program came out, so they were 90, that road was 91 out of 106. So, I mean, there's a weight on that. And then they are experiencing a lot of trash and truck traffic, and I've been trying to pull it up exactly where it's at, but it's obviously up by the gorge, so they get some,
Remember, they have a road improvement district option. So what Spokane County did, they did 600 of them for exactly this. If they look at the gravel to oil program and they see that it's 20 years before it gets to them, the people along that road can make the choice to move forward with a road improvement district. And the commissioners can choose to contribute. And usually the county engineer would recommend how much to contribute, 0 to 25%, maybe, let's say. Zero. But that would be staff that would
No,
recommend
because
that.
if you.
That's what I'm
if
saying,
you do it
staff.
for
is what-
one, you're
which
gonna
is-
have to do it for everyone, and you just said
Well, no.
Spokane County did 600.
No,
If every one of
That's
them
not true.
comes here,
that's not true.
how
So
are
let
we
me
gonna pick
explain.
and choose?
It depends on the public benefit.
Yeah,
And
there's
that
no
is
benefit
scored.
to it. There's no
Well-
benefit to C and there's no benefit
That-
to T.
That's incorrect. It depends, no, not those. I'm not talking about those specifically. I'm just saying in general, with road improvement districts, sometimes there is more of a public benefit when there's connectivity and when there's certain roads that need
If
to be
there
updated.
is, but the
So I'm
ones that
not
we are
talking about that.
now,
I'm
there
talking about the
aren't.
road improvement
Oh, yeah.
district process in
But
general.
there's no way to budget for that.
I agree with you. I'm just
Right.
saying.
But
and
then your projects that you've got on the hot seat get picked out. for
You're
road
part of the
improvement
scoring.
districts, Right?
You will be part of the scoring
I
staff.
understand that. I'm just saying, if you are deciding that you're gonna give 10 or 25% to one, how are you gonna tell somebody else that wants an
Yeah. No,
RID?
that
No,
gets
we're
a
not
little
giving you
mixed up,
25%.
I agree, but there is other factors involved with
I
that.
understand that. I'm just saying,
If it was
it's
a
going to
road,
look pretty bad for the
yeah.
board if they decide to do it for one and not for the others.
And
What's
you-
that, Kevin?
You could recommend
Well, I
that.
was gonna say, if it's a road that it's in our 6-year plan and we were gonna do it, and we have somebody else that comes along and says, we wanna participate in a road improvement district, and we were already gonna do it anyway.
and I would tell
I
them,
could
just
see us
hang
doing
tight,
that.
save your money, hang tight.
It's coming.
Yeah, I could see us doing 25% on something like that, but yeah, I think it's a case by case basis, and the public needs to understand that we're not just gonna go out there and do every road improvement district. That's just not gonna happen.
What concerns me with case by case, and I understand what Dave's saying, and there are differences on public benefit. But if you do the public benefit one and you do 25%, the next one you do and we don't see the public benefit and we choose to contribute 0, it's gonna cause a lot of hate and discontent.
Then they can call us.
Well, they will.
Okay, so I'm looking to see, are we
agree to
even
disagree on
using this? Do we even refer back to our gravel to oil program?
So a gravel oil program is also on the website.
Oh,
It's
wait,
published.
this is a 6-year, sorry,
Yes.
6-year.
And the scoring, the current scoring is the 2019 scoring on that, which it should be updated because there has been some changes.
And just so you know, I value the 2014 bridge inspection, I didn't realize it was still in there.
You really like that picture.
I like, I value my inspection, you know, this is my road Bible here. So the chances of this getting paid are still, I mean, next on the list to get paved are pretty darn slim right now. But they could do a gravel to oil, no, the
Road improvement
road
district.
improvement district, and the form is online.
Yes. The entire process is online.
Okay.
And Zach That's considered petition, so Zach as well is running road improvement district
It's
petitions.
under engineering on our side.
What about the trash on there? Is that something or our new
Litter, people will take care of.
friends
Yeah,
can?
we're starting interviews on Friday, actually, so.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll have them on the road here in the next 3 to 4 weeks,
Okay.
so,
You're gonna be busy. We have some,
yes.
anyway, so if they could look at that.
It's a target-rich environment. Litter everywhere.
We can start cleaning that one up or look at that. Okay. So on this gravel oil program, do we utilize it really, or we've done additional studies? Are we still going out?
Still utilizing that.
Yes, so,
Okay.
and we are walking right down exactly per the ranking. So you, right on the website, it shows the next ones to be done.
So what
per
you're
that
saying,
ranking.
I can get rid of my book? I actually
Well,
have names on here of people that call. I'm like, you
Yep.
you are right. Da-da-da-da.
And I've actually directed some people to the website while I'm talking to them on the phone. And I walk down and I say, hey, yours is like 20th in line, and that's probably gonna be a while. Or if it's within, say, 5 years, you know, I let them know that. Now, that's only if there's funding for it, right? So we have to budget it each year. So that scoring that you see could slip. There was a few years where we didn't fund it at all, right? So it just depends if we fund it each year, and we build that into our annual road fund,
Okay.
our planning.
So the road improvement district is kind of like the cost share, but it's stretched over like a 10-year.
In addition, the contribution is very different. When we did cost share, the contribution was,
Upfront.
it's like 75% by the county and 25% by the,
Something like
and that's actually, that's really high. So 0 to 25 is what I'm seeing with other counties. Contribution is on a road improvement district. And it just depends.
Okay. I think on the cost share is basically the cost of the oil. So public works, all the prep work.
Well, that
Exactly.
used to be the case. In the beginning, it was the oil and the cover stone
Okay.
to seal it. But I thought that changed, I'm not sure how many years ago, that it was a percentage of the total cost, not just the oil and
okay.
rock anymore.
Well,
And I
the
think
oil
that,
shot up,
I think the money that those folks on 12 and K paid was more of a 25%, not just oil and
Okay.
rock.
We no longer have that program, unfortunately. Not my favorite program. Okay. Well, I will get back to,
All right.
what about that? Okay. We do have a visitor here. Is there something that we discussed?
Pertaining, no,
Okay.
to what I came here for, not at all.
Oh, did you come here for Public Works?
No, I
Okay.
was just hoping to talk to Rob later,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and if there's a possibility I get a 30-second moment, that'd be great.
He
But I-
will
but I-
be in for a while.
I'll probably come back this afternoon. But I do know a crew that's willing to help clean up efforts in at least the Moses Lake area. We're trying to coordinate some things just for that one reason. Some of the homeless that we encounter every week, so. There was a chance to qualify for an ARPA loan to open up a transitional house for those struggling with fentanyl.
Okay, I need to actually keep this based to Public Works, so let me just.
That's it.
Finish
Yeah.
if there's nothing else, it is 9:26. We will. Good morning, it is
That's right.
9:31. We are here for the Sheriff's Office, Jail, Emergency Management Update. Welcome. They're all combined. Good morning.
Good morning. I wanted to give the board an update on just some of the things that we've done in the past with our new positions. For instance, more specifically, our crime reduction team that we had for the first 6 months of 2024, which would have been basically the latter half of 2024. Hi, Decorah. But I wanted to just give you an update, just some quick statistical information that we have. And the work that those guys have done. And again, I'm talking a 6-month period, so keep that in mind. So during the 6-month period, as of right now, we have a sergeant and 2 deputies in there as of right now, until we get some more deputies released off of field training and get some more positions hired and bodies out of the academy and yada, yada, yada. We only have 3 of the 5 in the crime reduction team right now. But of those 3, in 6 months, they've handled 123 calls for service. They've had 150 agency assists. They've conducted and executed 14 search warrants, 24 arrests, and the next 2 are the biggies for me. They've taken 25 or 20 firearms off the streets, 20 in 6 months, as well as 3,244 rounds of ammunition with associated firearms. So they've been very busy. They're a very proactive unit. The one thing that I don't have on here is how many cases that they have closed that have started on the patrol side and that they've taken over from patrol to put the extra effort into it to get those cases closed. And that, I would say probably their case closure rate is probably in the high 80s would be my guess, 70 to 80%. It's substantial, which is a clearance of cases that I don't know we've ever had in this agency that high from a unit that is proactive investigating, not developing
But
cases.
they're very proactive.
Extremely
I would say
proactive, yeah.
had a minor theft and just put it on Grant County Farmers on patrol.
Yeah,
Didn't even file a report, and I was notified that the individual, it was apprehended.
yeah. So
I
that's,
didn't know.
and those are some of the things that we've done. We've used that social media. In fact, that page specifically as a tool for us. Sergeant Jason Ball now is very proactive at reviewing those posts, where before we didn't have a unit, a team to go through and review those things like Sergeant Ball's been able to do with the crime reduction team. So being very proactive, not only just on social media, but seeking information from our patrol team, even funneling information to INET, maybe getting information from INET. They've done a fantastic job, and we're doing really doing great work covering that gap of a criminal element that we've missed, that I talked about when I did the presentation on the
No, it
team.
does sound ridiculous, but I felt like it was just such a minor, I didn't want to waste anybody's
Yeah.
time on it, but.
But the thing with those minor
Anyway,
cases though, Cindy,
that
is
when they
it,
start building bigger.
oh yeah, they build bigger and they impact multiple people. So they may be coming and stealing a battery from you, but they go down the road to the next farmer down there and they may be grabbing circle wire at that time. And then they leave that place and they go get some tractor weights from somewhere else. Or then they go steal pipe from the one next place down. So it ends up impacting multiple people, but those are the types of cases that we want to be aggressive with, because that's what affects everybody day in and day out. It's not everybody's a big drug dealer, right, in Grant County, but everybody is either in the farming community, a business owner, or they reside in Grant County and just want to live a life that they should be living. Those everyday, day-to-day people are who is impacted by the criminal element that our crime reduction team is working on. And so having a unit that specifically targets and protects that group of citizens we have in Grant County is substantial, which is the majority of the people that live in Grant County or visit Grant County, quite frankly. So they're making a very big impact in the community in a positive light. And like I said, they're very proactive, and they've done just a great job. And that, like I said, that's 6 months of statistical information that's continuing to grow. So I just want to thank you again, the board, for approving those positions, because it is making a very large impact on our community. It really is. And you're directly impacted. You felt it. So that's good to know. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. The next portion, we probably will need to go to an executive session for my next information. And Decorah, I believe, is here for that.
Okay, personnel disciplinary matters.
I think it's on F. Is it section F? in the
RCW 4231.1F. How long do we need?
Can we say 15 minutes? Does that seem good?
Because we can't come out,
should be joining us.
Okay.
we can extend, but we can't come out early.
I think 15 minutes should be good. Gina, 15 minutes? No, we're just getting ready to start. 15 minutes, you think appropriate?
10.
10? Okay.
Okay, 10's easier to add. So
Okay,
we'll go
okay.
into executive session from 9:37 to 9:48. Okay, it is 9:48. We are out of executive session. No formal decision was made.
I myself have nothing further as far as the update goes. I don't know if the board has anything they want to update me with anything.
I got a question for you.
Sure.
The Indian property out on Hiawatha.
Mhm.
Has there been any conversation with the tribe as far as what they're,
We have tried to reach out to them quite a few times. In fact, maybe you have more information than I do.
I do.
Gary. I'll let Gary talk about that.
So I've asked Josh Sainsbury to take the lead on this. He has been having some communications with the Caldwell tribe. Prior to that latest incident where the SWAT team went out there, he had been talking to them. A lot of people understood that land was sovereign property, so that Caldwell tribe needed to come down. We've established that they are just simply a landowner. It is not sovereign property. We're going to treat them no different than any other property owner who wants somebody trespass off their property. So Josh was asked to take the lead and get all of the players together, which includes our code enforcement officers, our drug task force, the Caldwell tribe. They have a property manager that manages the property for them. Yeah, I was surprised too. And they have somebody who does just the public relations stuff that Josh has been emailing with. I think that was in the very beginning of March that Josh was emailing with them. And so I've just asked him to get everybody together. Let's get in one room. They can tell us what they want us to do. If they want us to trespass these people, we'll go out and trespass them. It'll be very similar to what we just got done doing out in the sand dunes, minus the assistance of Public Works. And we will just tell the property owners that once these people are trespassed and they're off the land, if they don't take their stuff with them, it's up to the landowner to take care of the stuff that's left behind.
so that road that goes back there, that's private property. I have a farmer that owns property down that road as well. I'm wondering if we can maybe work together and put some.
Down Road A, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, he owns the property to the north of the lake in that area. So
Is it accessed off of there? You go around the
he
lake
can,
that way?
yeah.
Or do you come in off of May Valley?
He comes down from May Valley,
Okay.
but I'm just thinking about maybe blocking that road off some way.
It's a public county road, correct?
Road A is
That just that dirt road that goes back where they're
Yeah.
accessing that gravel.
well, it runs north off the frontage road. That what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I don't know that we would be able to block it off.
Now, the driveways going in, those are owned by the property owners. I don't think the county has an easement on their
Right.
driveways to the
Yeah,
property.
so we can block those.
But I think Road A itself is gonna have to be open because it is a county roadway, I believe.
Yeah, the one that goes down into the lake.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I was just thinking if we could block up that road, that upper road.
Mhm.
I'll talk.
So along with Colville Tribes, Josh is also going to be contacting the Department of Interior. They own the property to the west of Colville Tribes. And they have their own enforcement officers, which they've been trying to do pieces of work in there as well, trying to get different people. And some of those people have started migrating west apparently, and then BLM pushes them back onto tribal land. And so I will probably have BLM out there with us as well, making sure that they take care, that they're gonna take care of their pieces of property, and then Caldwell tribe will be a part of the conversation as well.
Thank you.
You bet.
Okay, I've got a couple things. Does the sheriff sign notarized clearance letters? Somebody from my area, they need I don't even know what.
Clearance letter for what?
Notarized clearance letter. I have no idea.
I don't know what that is. What would be the context of it?
To obtain. It says obtain a notarized police clearance letter from your place of permanent residence or police or sheriff letterhead. Tell them you would like the letter to state you have no criminal record for international travel purposes. Sorry, I guess there was.
Is that for like an enhanced license of some sort?
Passport.
I
Passport?
have no idea. I have a little blurb.
I can't say that I've ever done one that I
Visa
know of.
document, it's for a visa.
Yeah,
okay,
I
so
can't say that I've ever, I'm not saying it hasn't been done. I just don't think in my term I've done it yet.
Permanent residence
So-
on police or sheriff letterhead, so obviously they're from Grant County, and I think they may have been in Trail City, because they had asked, and I'm like, I don't know. Okay,
Yeah, that I don't know if, I don't think I've ever done one. I'm not saying it hasn't been done. I just don't think in my term I've ever had to do one.
and I've never heard of it in my
Yeah, me either.
tenure here, so.
Yeah, me either.
Okay, and then my next comment or question is Adams Road, south of Freda. There's, I guess, a house with a lot of dogs. They're in the road. They're,
South of 28, you mean?
I thought it was Adams.
Dotson Road runs south of Freda. Adams runs off at
Just a
28
minute.
towards
Yep,
Quincy.
Dotson, sorry, Dotson. South here. A lot of dogs. What do they do? Because we don't, I've been trying to call her back and I haven't gotten through.
Mhm.
But we normally don't just pick up dogs.
No, that's not an
And they're
animal
kind of in
control
the road
area.
and-
I would have to look at the map because I think that there is a portion of Dotson Road there that is still city limits.
It is to Road 14.
Is it all the way to 14?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I knew it changed. I just didn't know how far down it went.
I don't know where the dogs are at. I drive that road every single day and
Okay, well, I mean,
I've never had to dodge any dogs.
And I haven't either. And we come in early.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unless it's further south.
That's what I'm wondering, if it's maybe out by the campground.
okay,
Well,
let me
even-
keep trying to track.
Maybe
it
south
down.
of I-90
I
maybe?
can't think of any dogs, even anywhere
Yeah.
north of I-90, but definitely
Yeah.
south of I-90, I could see in that little trailer park area.
Yeah, that's about the
On the west
6,000
side.
block-ish,
Yeah.
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're heading to your Freda, but Dodson Road area, you've probably heard about it, but I'm not sure. There's a gentleman there that has a massive amount of dogs, and these dogs are literally running out, and they're puppies, older ones, and they're running into cars, running out into cars, and they're aggressive. Okay, let me figure out.
Because I come every morning from I-90 to Ephrata on Dotson Road every morning, and I can't think of one
The number she called
time.
for is not the number I'm supposed to call her back, and the number that she has listed here is not getting through, so I will continue
Okay,
to
okay,
track that down.
yeah. I'm just not aware of any from I-90 to Ephrata on the north side of I-90. One last thing I want to cover since I have 5 times, unless you've had something
No,
else, I'm
no,
sorry.
that's it.
I just happened to bring up the consent agenda. I just wanted to make sure you didn't have any questions on number 21 on the consent, which is
Well,
our,
we did, but Caitlin informed us how it was going down.
okay, for the surplus of the vest.
Yeah,
The
you
best,
actually have to
yeah.
incinerate
Josh-
it.
When-
Josh
when-
came by and told me about it.
Winner for Caitlin, look at that.
What are the odds that somebody, like a deputy clerk, I don't know, could go and watch the stuff be incinerated?
Oh, did you go watch it?
Can I watch it? That just sounds
Somebody's got
kind
to
of fun.
document it.
All it is like a big, they just shut the door and a big bonfire and just burns it from there.
It sounds kind of cool.
Is the incinerator in Spokane?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's in
yeah.
Spokane.
it's, there's really nothing to see. I mean, you don't get to sit there and hold a marshmallow over or anything.
There's just a special section for law enforcement. You go and like if it's dope or whatever.
Oh, you burn it there? I thought we put it in
Yeah.
the landfill. Okay,
Marijuana at
Sorry.
landfill, but like
okay.
meth, fentanyl, cocaine, that all gets taken to the incinerator.
Yeah.
After everything's been adjudicated, but.
And everybody in the neighborhood is very, very happy.
Hungry, but
We
happy.
don't, we don't put
Everybody needs
marijuana in
that.
the incinerators.
Yeah. Anyway, that was all I had. I just wanted to, I thought about the consent real quick, and as I'm not gonna be here for the consent, so I just wanted to,
Yeah, Caitlin got that taken care of.
okay,
Did
awesome.
John enjoy your last week?
Tomorrow is technically, I guess tomorrow will be my last day.
Okay.
I gotta burn an annual leave day on Thursday. I don't wanna give any back. And then I come in on Monday and then like turn in my patrol car and stuff, and then I gotta burn 5 more hours on Monday, but technically Monday's my last day, but tomorrow will be the last day wearing a uniform.
Okay, well, don't, as you're burning your hours, don't, burn anything else.
We're gonna
Don't
get
wreck the
him,
car.
we're gonna get
Don't
him a
wreck the
subpoena
car. Be
somehow.
safe.
Not sure how yet. We're gonna.
And I wanted to say I appreciate you guys and
Well, we
it's
appreciate
been a great learning experience for the last 2 years and learning this process and working with HR and you guys has been fantastic. And I'm going out happy, I'm going out on a good note, and I'm very thankful for that because sometimes that doesn't happen in this industry. So,
Okay, well, we've enjoyed
yes,
working with
thank you very much.
We appreciate your service.
And Friday at 2 o'clock if you're interested,
Yep. Here's the party, yes.
and then Friday night at the tap room if you're interested, starting at 6.
Yeah, I was hoping to go to that. I gotta
Okay,
be
it
at
is
Davenport all day. on Friday.
9:58.
Well, you don't have to be there long. Just swing by.
10 o'clock.
And I got,
Kevin, can you?
9 to 1.
Like, you
Wow,
Good morning, it
I
is
thought we were the fun
2:00.
ones.
We are here with facilities and maintenance for their weekly update.
Good morning, commissioners. So I'll just start off with a little blurb and then I'll let him kind of take it. So we did have a conversation with a gentleman today, Matt Lando, ATSM of Northwest, regarding the control of our law and justice building. And Kevin will get into that a little bit more, but he's gonna come over and visit with us and try and provide us a low cost solution to get us by. Now, we do have 2 bid openings today for mowing at the fairgrounds and site work for the bleachers opens today. I am gonna need you to cover for me for that
3:30.
yeah, that 3:30, because I asked Jim Nelson and he does want me in that meeting today. I've just got the 2 questions on that whole sheet, so. But yeah, if you could cover that, that would be great.
I most certainly can do that.
Okay, and I'm gonna let you take off.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Again, pretty exciting week here at the county, never a dull moment. So I'll kick off with some of the highlights. Last Wednesday, we had a safety training for fall protection for our employees. And so what that entails is looking at our fall protection equipment, our harnesses and lanyards and things like that, doing an inspection on it that L&I requires annually by a competent person. So we sent Jeff Hughes from the Renew Group. He went down to a training and to become the competent person. So we got everybody inspected and he walked through the ins and outs of how to properly wear fall protection and then how to inspect it, because every time you use it, you're supposed to do a personal inspection on it. So that was very good training. I think a lot of good came out of that. This coming month in April, we also have a locksmith training coming up for approximately 10 to 12 of our guys as well. Norma Caba, who is supplying all the locks and keys for the jail, they're gonna do it for free for us. So it's a good one for the guys to learn how to read their nomenclature for the door frames and the hardware that goes in there, and a different style of doors, locks that how they operate. So like you can have a classroom function, which basically means you can lock the door from the outside with a key, but it's never locked from the inside so people can get out. So we had those types of doors that we're working in for the jail. And that was one of the meetings that was held last week with the sheriff to get those doors sorted out for how they work for 250 of them. So it was a
Make sure
pretty good
they're facing the
undertaking.
right direction.
A lot
Exactly.
of doors. A lot
That
of
training
doors.
would be so interesting.
We can have an open seat if you want to
So
sit.
when is it?
April 10th. So no, that'll be a good one
Oh,
then.
I have it near you too, okay.
But yeah, if you're interested, let me know and we'll get you a seat. We also will be doing another safety training this upcoming month in April. We'll probably focus that one on lockout tagout. So when we lost Pete, he was kind of our lead for the safety, and
Is that
Jeff.
electrical thing, lockout, tag out?
It is. It is. And so we'll stay in front of those trainings and make sure we get them done. One thing that I'm running into, since we're doing inventory now, is small and attractive assets. So a lot of offices, I know we had this discussion in the past, a lot of offices are moving things around or taking things apart and putting them in there. And now they're asking, well, I have this asset. And I'm like, well, that's on you to figure out. So what they should do before they do the work or move these things around, they should be asking for permission and, writing letters to let everybody know what's going
You're
on.
talking about furniture mainly?
Correct. So now they're all kind of stressed out. I said, that's
Is
not
there
for
one
maintenance to
department in
manage for you.
particular that, is it something countywide? Do we need to just do a cleanup?
I think I need to send an all Grant County again and remind everybody that when we purchase furniture for an office, it's purchased for the office, not the person who wants to move around and take it apart. And that they can't they can't just take furniture apart and move it around without talking to us or asking us, because inevitably what happens is they decide they want or don't want something, they take it apart, they move it, and then 6 months later, they want something else, they go out and buy it, or they ask us to buy it, and we're left asking, well, what happened to the furniture we bought you?
Right.
And, it's,
And then now they're running into, when they go on their, small and attractive items list, these things are never aren't a complete set anymore or missing. And they're like, well, we had you do that. I'm like, I don't manage your assets. We
And-
tell you not to do it.
and some people get really upset when we bring it up. They say, we don't have to ask your permission. It's like, well, you kind of do, and it gets them really upset, and, well, we're not gonna ask you if we have to rearrange an office. Well, you probably should ask us if you're gonna rearrange an office. We're the facilities folks,
Yeah, no, everybody should have to do that.
But there are people in this, even in leadership roles in the county that get very upset.
Does that also need to come from the commissioners maybe?
I can send it out again just from me, and just remind them, but if you hear about it, if you hear about the email in upcoming meetings with department heads, you might back us up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is an asset. They are supposed to track it and they are supposed to take care of it. So, and then now they're trying to push it back towards maintenance and facilities. And it's just like, that was your decision to do. You didn't even let us know. So now you got to answer for it. So just a heads up on things that you might hear about there. Other projects that we're working on. So the museum reader board, we got to find the setback, how that's, so there's a set of specifications out there that say the leading edge of the sign cannot extend past the property line. So it can't extend out into like the road or into the sidewalks or stuff like that. So and Tom helped with that to find hopefully we can find somebody that knows where the survey stakes are, so we can determine where that sign needs to go. Right now, the location that we have would be really good, but if we have to go back farther, then the building's gonna cover it up, and then that'll add extra expense in for electrical and stuff like
Yeah,
that, so.
it's kind of a tough one because that spot where they want to put it, it's a good spot for power, but not a good spot for the sign.
Yeah, Bill Cox's comment was that the leading edge of the sign can't protrude across the property line. And I spoke with Dave Dormeyer this morning, because I think he might know where the pins are since he's worked at that church. He thought he might have had a drawing that showed that. He's supposed to email that to us today. So hopefully
that'd be great.
we're trying to figure out how to install a sign and not get a survey done so that because we don't want to pay for that. We don't have to, but should be able to find the pins.
Hopefully Dave can do that.
So more to come on that. Still working on the architectural and engineering on-call services, RFQ. So getting engineers and architects on a roster that we can select. The reason for that is we just had another project kind of come our way. There's another remodel project that would have some structural changes involved with it. And with that being said, then it'd be nice to have that roster so we can go in and select somebody that has the qualifications, a firm that has the qualifications to go in, do an evaluation and tell us what we can and can't do. So I'm hoping to get that out by the end of this week, because the other project that it ties into is with Renew for their remodeling their front lobby up on the main building.
Have you guys started on that already, or
I've been working at it in between times, but
a little bit?
So, and to kind of go a little bit further on what Kevin talked about is, if we have on-call services and we hire an architect because we have a need to look at structural design or things like that, I think it's important that at some point, before we expend that money, the commissioners are aware of what we're even talking about. In this case, it's a remodel down at solid waste. And I think, before we spend the money, we have to make sure that the commissioners would even be okay with that in the first place. Typically they're pretty small remodels, and they would 99% of the time, you're gonna say, yeah, that's fine. But it's something that's gonna be a change to one of our buildings, and it's gonna require us spending money on it. So anyway, we should make sure that the board is aware of these things, before we actually.
Opposite this solid waste or?
Yeah, they're talking about redoing the break room or turning part of something. You can explain it a little better than I can. So.
Yeah, so what they're looking for is that they're gonna have additional personnel hired on. They're gonna have another supervisor down there and somebody, I think, more environmentally, I don't know the dynamic of the people that they're hiring, but they need 2 more offices down there. They want to put those folks in the current break room, take the break room and move it out, basically what is in the shop now, and build walls underneath. There's a mezzanine up there that has storage, and where the mechanical room is for that building, and close that off and put the break room out there for the employees. So with that being said, there's a stairway that comes down the middle of that space where they want to put that comes down from the mezzanine where they want to put the walls up. Move that stairway out of that space so you got a nice clear open area in there for a break room.
So then you gotta move the stairway though, right?
Correct. You gotta move the stairway, and then there's structural steel that runs up underneath there. And then where does that move? If we're gonna close that space off and add additional load to that mezzanine, that needs to be, how many pounds per square foot can we put up there? So it'd have to be reevaluated and then have an engineering stamp on it saying this is what what the load can be.
But before we spend that money to do that, we want to make sure the board was even good with the personnel moves and, the plan that Public Works had to even do that in the first place.
I was assuming that they had already talked to you, but
I hadn't
about
heard
that.
about it, any remodeling or adding any offices or.
Yeah, see, and that's, so just
Anything
make
else.
it gets brought up, so, somebody brings it up, and before we expend monies, make sure that, you have the opportunity to ask Public Works about it. And typically, like I said, 99% of the time, you're probably gonna agree with it. They're gonna make their case, and you're gonna say, oh, yeah, that's good, so. But you should be fully informed.
I appreciate that.
Yep, not a problem.
What else you got?
Well, we got the Metasys control engine. So it ran for about a week and a half, the one that we bought on eBay, and it has failed. Johnson Controls is supposed to be back in here today to figure out what happened and see what we got going on. If they can't make it work, we've reached out to a different contractor to see what kind of solutions we have that are, cost effective for the county to get the system to run until we decide what's gonna happen with the building. We know it runs the jail, which, if we can get it to run for 1 more year, that part kind of slides off. But then we just have the court side of the building to maintain, so we'll see what kind of solutions they come up with. Hopefully it's just something in the controller that it's an easy download and away it goes again. But we gotta have them look at it first and find out, but look into the future on what we can do if it's failed again. Coroner's elevator, it's down again as well, so it ran for about 3 weeks.
What did it do? What happened there?
It just stopped, so I got the ticket in with Otis to go troubleshoot it.
Did you see the email this morning from the state?
Yeah, about the CMP.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be a new program with L&I in regards to conveyance management program. So we'll have to do training on that and figure out what that actually is. There's a portal that'll be in there. I think they're just gonna log our reports and stuff in there, but we gotta
And
find
they have
out what.
stairs, we have stairs, correct, obviously, yes.
At the coroner's office, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So it's not, I guess it's just the thing about it is it's their ADA access. So like if they have a family that comes in,
That's right, because they have their rooms downstairs, but if
Correct.
when they leave,
well, it
with
would
the
be,
health district, if they took it over,
they would need ADA access to the bottom as well.
but not necessarily, if you have a public area, would that area be open to the public then? See, that's what we did up here for building and planning, as long as we have a planner downstairs, they have access on the ground floor to everybody and everything they need.
Yeah, we did do that. There was a couple of things at play there. There was a disproportionality clause with the Department of Justice that precluded our requirement to put that in there. And then, and also we just took the extra step of saying that if we had somebody that had an accommodation, we would put them downstairs so that they would have access and be able to go to work, so. you want to talk about your chart real quick?
Yes, so I got, real quick. So we always talk about what we do in maintenance in our CMMS, which is our computerized maintenance management system. And I just gave you a little print off on there. So the first chart on top, it just shows all the locations that we're tracking, and you can see how we're broke out by site or location. You can see the percentage, well, you can see open tasks for each location. You can see the percentage of on time, so what we consider on time within about 1 week, do we get the work order done? You can see the percentage of overdue work orders and percent critical, which is that it could be like a high priority. Let's say it was a safety item where we had a busted window or something like that, or it's a work order that hasn't got done in time. And then it goes to critical to let us know to get after it and work on it. So Public Works is, you can see there's percent critical is 95%. That number has shrunk considerably because what happened, and we're working on it, is that they had all their PMs fire at January 1. So like 110 preventive maintenance work orders were put in the schedule. And so now we're just catching up with that.
And they should have been staggered.
Yeah, and they'll work on staggered, so next year that doesn't happen again. But there was, when Eli started, there was 91 of those work orders in there, and now we're down to 22, so we're gaining ground there and fairly quick.
How long's Eli been here?
30 days. We're gonna do his review on Thursday.
Catching up.
Yeah, we're getting there. The next one down, you can just kind of see, this is a year-long snapshot, so basically from last March to this March. So 60.7 of 60% of our work orders are on time, and 40%, or sorry, let me back that up. 60% are planned work orders, 40% are unplanned. Planned work orders are PMs, things that come in, projects, things like that that we schedule. 40% would be like backed up toilets or things that get broken that we have to get out there and work out, reactive work, correct? And
So I
then
have a
you,
question on the Grant County Fairgrounds. Are those all maintenance or are those maintenance and event?
maintenance. Well, and they can mix event into there. We have a tag in there that we can sort those out.
Okay,
But usually what you're gonna see out of the fairgrounds, if they do that, it's gonna be an unplanned work order for
okay.
the
I
fairgrounds.
was just curious because they were high. Sorry to interrupt you, Kevin.
Yep, not a problem. Nope, that's why it's here. Ask questions.
Well, we're into GCTS this
Okay.
time too, so.
So,
Any questions for
No,
Kevin?
are
or for
you done,
me?
Kevin? I need to catch up.
well, I think if you've got questions on any of the charts, you
Okay.
can look at it and feel free to ask, and I can bring more snapshots, you know, for future meetings.
Kind of enjoyed looking at this. Thank you, Kelly.
Yep, you're welcome.
All right, it is 10:18. We're just finishing our update with tourism maintenance. We're rolling into technology services update. Welcome. Our smooth
Have a good day.
transition there. Thanks, Kevin.
All right, well, again, continuing on, so we are scheduled 4 PM next Monday to present a cybersecurity brief for the BOCC. And then we'll update cybersecurity as needed in these weekly briefings. I will be asking that we conduct that brief in an executive session since that's, you know, RCW 423110, as we'll be discussing cybersecurity and vulnerabilities of our network. So that is coming as promised, and I need to get with you or with John. I've got the brief about halfway built, but I need some input on a couple of things. So,
You're happy to help.
yep. But anyways, that's coming, and with that, I'll turn it over to you, Joe.
I got a whole lot of nothing.
Okay.
I've been doing some network upgrade stuff that came in over the weekend and replaced a couple VPN concentrators and moved some network stuff around. I've been like busy, like doing little things, so I came very unprepared today. I apologize.
Yeah, okay, so, well, so let's talk about some of but we found a new vendor for our Unify products, right?
You know, in a sense, yeah, there are some products that they can't get to us, because Ubiquity's holding them because they want to be first sellers on those particular items, and those are the items that I really need bad.
And what do these items do for us?
They're switches for the new jail site.
for the new jail.
Yeah, so, they have capabilities that exceed all of the other Ubiquity stuff that we've gotten so far. So that was kind of like, I wanted the new place to have nice things.
Well, and that was one of the things on the jail project is we started to go through, programmatic design was when we looked at the IT network, they were specifying a specific set of, a specific kind of an architecture, and we said, well, time out, that's not what we use here at the county. Various security protocols, various vendors that we like, people that we've learned to trust. So we've taken over a good portion of that, and to Joe and the rest of GCTS's credit, the team at Leidig has stated multiple times, and Kaufman Engineers, that we're really lucky to have the staff that we have. They're not typical. So they have really enjoyed working with the staff.
We always intended to take full ownership of the facility once it was ours. And so when they said, hey, we're gonna do this and this and this, we're like, you're gonna what? And so like, no, we have different plans. And they were like, oh, what are those? And so we explained it and they were like, oh.
And then they immediately scheduled a meeting. And then after the meeting, they were like, wow, this is pretty cool. So, yeah, it's been a good relationship.
Yeah, so it's been good. We went and did a tour last week. Myself, Ricky, Keith, and Dave Briner. He's the guy that's doing the cameras and the PLC and the intercom system for the new jail. So we met with Dan Brown, and walked through the facility and looked at some different areas, and he explained how they're making some, little changes here and there. And he talked to Dave about camera placements and things like that. And I guess they had a lot of things going on last week, but
Yeah.
sorry, I'm just,
No,
so many of them.
That's all right. Well, let's transition, since we're talking cameras. How's the camera project at the fairground?
Ricky's getting to a point where he's gonna be ahead of Chris far enough that Chris is gonna have to catch up with power.
Okay.
So, probably in the next week, he'll be back here at the courthouse more often, and then he was gonna coordinate with Kevin to let maintenance take the lift back for a period of time if they needed it for whatever, because we don't wanna hog it forever, obviously. And, they were working on the hardwood yesterday, getting some stuff installed there. We pulled some fiber from the northeast corner to the southeast corner for cameras, and I guess we're putting in a ton more horns is what Jim wants.
Well, we're replacing the current horns because, and adding more because they don't sound good, right? And they're garbled and they're scratchy, and so,
I wasn't told that, so, the IP horns that we put in are for like the announcer type stuff.
Yeah.
And we only have them in certain places, so, now we're gonna be overstepping on top of the other PA systems in the arenas, and that'll be interesting when fair hits and they start doing announcements over the top of other stuff.
Well, we can talk more about that later. It's been discussed for quite some time, and it was part of the budget process, but anyway, so the cameras we're talking about, the camera project, this is in response to the shooting last year at the fairgrounds. So we're adding a lot more cameras along with the Musco lighting to light up those dark areas. So, yeah. Okay. What do you got?
Talking with our help desk guys,
Yeah.
we've had a pretty large increase of help desk tickets lately. And they are working hard to keep up with them and struggling.
Yeah.
So if they stop doing help desk tickets, then things,
Yeah.
So it gets out of control.
So speaking of that, I want to bring something to the board's attention that we discovered yesterday, Cindy. This will be important. In the discussion about the position that is going to get built up, right? So I've been saying since day one that we had that budget for the interns because we did. And Vanessa informed me yesterday that it wasn't in the budget. And I said, well, how could that be? Because I didn't take it out of the budget. And so I was pretty shocked. And it was in the budget. Somebody made a decision as we were going through the 2024 budget discussions. Okay, as the 2024 budgets were
2024 and 2025.
2024. So in 2023, right, August, September, we input our 2024 budgets, right? This is when This is my best guess as to what happened when Katie was still here. And those budgets were input, budgets were adopted, off we go in 2024. So we didn't hire an intern in 2024. So we didn't even think to look at that budget line. And now it's 2025 and it's like, hey, we go and it's gone. I know for a fact, and you can ask other departments, that Katie had made it a policy that if we go through the budget, if we find budget lines that haven't been used in a couple of years, we're just gonna cut them.
Okay, well.
We know that she did that, and we're thinking that that is what happened to this budget line. So we have asked Mandy to put that budget line back in our budget. We figured out what that excess cost would be for the year, and we're gonna source those funds, and we're gonna get that back in without doing a budget extension. But I know we're not the only ones that happened to. And
Interesting.
even,
Well,
and Joe was shocked yesterday too, because I was like, I know I didn't make
You're
the
not the only
decision.
one that's lost something, because I know it doesn't continue forward, but okay.
Well,
I
it
didn't
does,
really
it
think-
does unless we tell them, remove it from the budget,
But like
which
the
we
capital does
absolutely
not
did
stay.
not do.
Okay.
Right.
You know, this is
It wasn't rolled over. It was just a budget line.
yeah, it
Okay,
was,
but it was
yeah.
in your, okay, line item. So
Yeah.
I did not know this happened.
Oh, yeah, well, we didn't know until
Okay, so we're
yesterday,
gonna
and it
see
was
that.
like,
None of us knew apparently.
You didn't know until you needed it, right?
yeah, and, because sometimes, you know, I mean, those budget, well, especially the GCTS budget, I'm not making excuses, but it's a lengthy budget. You don't always look at every line if you're not using it, you know.
Well, so, yeah, you don't know what you're.
It's kind of like
missing
travel
until you go
training,
use
right?
it.
You might sit there all year. If you end up not doing any travel or training, you might not use it.
And honestly, we feel good if we don't spend money because that's money back in the current
Yeah,
expense, so.
So that surprised us, but we are fixing it, just so if it comes up in an accounting meeting, that we're doing this,
Yeah, I'm trying to pull
that's
the
what we're
budget
doing,
up.
and, it'll be there, so. Yeah, sorry, didn't mean to cut
No,
you off,
no,
but
that's okay.
when you said it, we said that, it reminded me, so,
No, my brain works the same way.
yeah, yeah.
Did we want to talk about Trevor?
Well, we will figure something out, because I think we were gonna bill you at the end of the year, but if we don't put the budget money.
We'll
in-
figure it out. We'll figure it out. I just wanted to make sure you are aware of the goings on our side of that. And so, and I'm sorry, go ahead and.
Oh, I was just saying that we've started experiencing an uptick in help desk tickets.
Yeah.
The help desk guys are struggling, is that the best way to describe it, to keep up with them.
Yeah.
If they stop working on help desk tickets to work on projects, then the help desk tickets get out of control, so
Right.
projects are falling behind.
There's been no real rhyme or reason to them. It's not like a specific type of ticket. It's just a larger volume
It's just
in general across
A
the board.
random increase in
Yeah.
volume, so.
Yeah, it's spiked lately and I was asking them like very pointed questions like, what about this? What about that? Like, this has nothing, it's like, we just got a bunch of these and then we got a bunch of these from this department and then
Yeah.
just all across the board.
My laptop thing is bizarre. My brand new laptop,
Okay.
starting up all by itself.
Oh, well,
My old laptop started doing that.
So,
It's AI
back to the
powered.
mail employee. We had, the mailroom reporting to the board, went to you. Now, I mean, it's back to the board. Do you want to? I mean, it doesn't.
You're gonna do it to me again.
No, but if you don't want it, but it just seems like you're the one that would have the balance of, like, I don't know if the employee doesn't show up.
Right.
You know, they could be reading a book in their office, so you would obviously know if they're. We can leave it like it is. I just didn't know if you needed the oversight.
Not necessarily. I think the oversight can remain where it is and because he's right, we're gonna know, so it's gonna be easily reportable, so.
Because we'll keep us in the
But
loop.
we'll discuss it more, so make sure that, and
Yeah,
need
keep us in
to,
the loop if it's
Yeah.
not working out but I have a feeling it's gonna be a successful venture for
it was
both
funny.
TS and the employee.
Funny story, when a resolution was passed to create central services, Cindy was the chair, and she said, oh, and by the way, we're also adding interfund. I was like, what?
gotta be over and
Just the
over.
day the resolution.
And it was a good move on our part. Very good move.
It's funny. Any questions for GCTS?
No, we just appreciate you guys being here every day.
apologies for not being super prepared this morning. I was working a problem this morning from the time I got here and it was just like the thing popped up on my screen. It's like, oh, you got that thing to go to. And I was like, so
So
okay, I
today, I
can,
believe is the day we take action because it's been in PRMRT about the part-time employees, so
yeah,
today we'll take action full-time, so.
okay, all right.
It literally is happening.
Good.
Well,
So you get some help.
Cool.
Welcome.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be, the building of the computers, I think will be very helpful for Alex.
And it's just a hop, skip, and a jump away from you.
Yeah, no, it's just walk down the hall to go to the lab and,
Yeah,
He's literally right outside my office.
Well, and I think there's a lull in after lunch, and then there's also a lull earlier in the day
Yeah.
that you said he had some time, so.
yeah, totally flexible, and we don't want the mail room duties to be, slighted or ignored in any way, so, if he's got time to fill in gaps, then we'll have him, work on stuff, and, hopefully he can,
there's plenty.
yeah, I mean, there's plenty of little things to do, so it's not like, but yes, there will be stuff being done, so. And not horrible things, I mean, like, we didn't plan on putting him in like direct contact with customers, like, in the field. We were gonna try and have him be more background, do stuff in the office that helps support the guys so that they can do stuff like that. Yeah, lots of little things.
Well, it will be a win-win.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking forward to it.
Well, thank
Okay.
you for making this work. Okay, it is 10:31. We are in recess until it's 10:45. We are here for the VOCC work session. Welcome on this glorious morning. It's really a beautiful morning. I think Public Works has a car that we will be able to use for the youth exchange. I just need to get going.
Andy had asked me to send him the dates
Okay,
that
yep.
they needed the car, and then he's gonna look into the availability of it. He'd said that, they called it the limo, it's not actually a limo.
I
but-
thought that's what he said, the limo. I'm like,
Yep,
I don't know if we need a limo.
It's not actually a limo, but they said it's got definitely enough seats for the people that need to borrow the car, and he also said that the trunk space is really, really nice for luggage.
Okay,
So, they're gonna look into that, and he'll get back to me.
perfect.
I have something to bring up that, it's actually Rob kind of wanted to bring it up, and no, he's not here, but I'll say it, and if I say it wrong, then I know Rob will correct me. But we had gotten this.
Is he online with us? Sorry.
No, not yet, I'm keeping an eye out.
Okay.
I could just wait and bring this up at roundtable. We got a reimbursement claim from Dell. And Renew did a team meeting and breakfast at Bob's Cafe. And so he's wanting reimbursement for it. And I handed it to Rob because that's, what we need, your guys' signatures on it. And he had expressed just a little bit of concerns about whether or not this qualified for reimbursement. So he's got, Dell has attendance and everything, and it is in the per diem rates, but I guess that this.
So if it was a training and,
It just says team meeting and breakfast.
okay, if there was a training, then that is an allowable expense. And he does have different funding mechanisms where we're pretty much just running off of tax dollars here, taxes and fees.
Grant funds, isn't it?
He has some, Susie does too. Susie can actually, New Hope, they can actually go buy supplies for people because of some of their funding and grant opportunities. We don't have something like that. So Dell would know if it's allowable, but I believe if there was a training, well, I know if there's a training involved and like a training retreat, or he's running off one of the grants that they've got to do that,
Kinda sounds like that's.
then that's allowable.
Doing some team building and
Kind
lunch
of.
at the same time.
There's just like a rough, I believe, agenda, just at the bottom of this, the, sign-in sheet that he had. Reviewed vision, mission, values.
So it's like retreat,
Yes.
but it sounded like.
Alondra 1-year lion transfer? That can't be right. From Melody to Atlanta. I don't really know what some of this means, but then there's like a future training and, little Q&A for Dell and.
So
updates.
we said retreat, so you can, a retreat isn't allowable. So if it's a retreat, a training, that is allowable.
Okay, so then,
But you can, but it sounds like future trainings and that's what,
so then I have this reimbursement claim if you want to review and sign it. I don't know if you want to wait until Rob is here so maybe he
we
can
can,
say his point a
there's
little bit
something.
in case I say it wrong. Instead of.
but for them
We
just to
could
go
do a
out to,
roundtable too.
I mean, there was an agenda present, but just for them to go.
And, yeah,
I'll do that in a
again,
moment.
it's just like a handwritten, like sign-in sheet, handwritten agenda.
Okay.
That- I'll bring it up at roundtable again though.
But that's
so-
like our training here, where we. And when we meet with the PD commissioners, that was, where it's a meeting that we have to go to, we're supposed to go to, and we do ask, but it's not from, I don't think anybody turns to us in, the commissioners.
And then just another reminder, the Friends of the Ukraine Refugees.
Okay.
Are going to come to the open forum this afternoon. Barb forwarded the information that they had sent over ahead of time.
Yeah, was a letter in there or something that they sent over?
Okay, is there anything else? No.
Yeah, I don't really have anything until next month. I'm gonna have a meeting with the guy up in Khaleesi about getting Fort Air into a fire district. Gonna be gone all day Friday for that thing in Davenport. The other counties.
I'll try to log on, yeah. The Eastern Washington Council of Governments, Cindy, I guess I could let you know. I talked with HR more about like being their clerk for the council. And so we had reached, a conclusion that we were going to present to the commissioners. And so I had reached out to Art Swanik, who's the current chair of the Council of Governments, just asking if they were still looking for a clerk before we brought all this to the commissioners. And he had said yes one day, and then the next day kind of said, like, yes, but not until 2026.
Okay.
It's a weird, I don't know, I'm not sure. So we're gonna ask for more information at the meeting on Friday, and then hopefully,
Get it sorted out.
yes.
Okay. And how do they pay their clerk?
So theirs is a services agreement, and the county chooses the rate of pay, and then you do the,
Okay, so she just clocks out and then works for the COG during that time?
so I think she used to drive to the meetings and attend the meetings in person, but they had said that if I wanted to attend remotely,
Oh, that'd
that's
be,
fine.
because it is a drive.
So I think they had said, when I talked to them before, back last year, they had said there, would probably be a couple of meetings, like maybe the first meeting of the year, that they would want me to be there in person, just to be there, but I would still have to run the Zoom anyways, and they said, if you can run the Zoom and take the minutes from there, then by all means. And so, yep, we were going to, like I said, we were going to talk to you guys about it this week, HR and I, but now that we've got this.
We'll find out more on Friday.
Yes, because the last services agreement that they had signed for their clerk with Stevens County was just a 5-month agreement. So I was thinking that this was going to be like a, through 2025 kind of agreement. But then I guess they talked to Stevens County, and I guess Stevens County wants to finish out 2025. So I'm not sure.
Okay. You're doing the cog, do you drive up or do you just? WebEx?
Yeah, I'm gonna drive up. Be the
We
first
didn't
one.
have that WebEx opportunity, but it is like a 3 or 4 hour drive. I'm like, oh my gosh, Richard, it was like I was driving all day long and felt like, I don't know if it was 4 hours, but it was probably a good 3.
That's not that far.
And then you have to go to your cabin for the weekend, right?
I'm thinking about it. We'll see. It's supposed to be muddy and rainy, so I don't know. No, I don't have much of anything else going on in my district.
Okay, I think we're,
In recess then, it's 10:54, we are in recess until 11 o'clock.
Good morning, it's 11 a.m. and we are here for our Budget and Finance Committee monthly meeting. Is Mandy or Daryl gonna start us off?
All right. We had one call this month. We had others I thought were gonna be called, but they're not, so we get a hold of them for at least another month. The interest rates are slightly lower than a month ago at this, for the state pool, so not much urgency to move money and invest in longer things when we're not getting harmed as much with the slightly lower rate in the state pool. Based on where our maturity's at, we'll probably look at some investments in April to get some maturities in April time period. Carrie is currently working on our financial package with the owner at this time. So she's been project manager for that and project manager for pay positive pays, which we're getting hopefully a whole bunch more to be starting on pay positive pay very quickly here. We're still having to deal with a lot of fraud attempts on a weekly basis. And it's not easy having the right personnel for our old account to have people seeing if there's things that look out of line on the system. We didn't make any purchases this month on the investments because we have too much to have a maturity date of March or September of the final maturity. So we're holding off. I'm not overloading the month with too much. So that's why we're holding off into April. In regards to revenues, our sales tax is ahead of last year. We're 7% ahead of last year, but countywide, we're this 7% behind, like I mentioned at a meeting yesterday, 7% behind for countywide. So, so we are down a bunch of money versus budget, already 500,000 on public safety. Which our money is dependent on the economy of the whole county, not just the current county's portion. So like I stated yesterday, the cities hopefully will start picking up the slack here for city on what's going on in the cities, because that is harming us. Everything else on the other revenues for February, we're ahead of last year, except for interest. Of course, is when you have less funds to invest, you get less interest, and the interest rate is slightly less than a year ago. So right now, REIT, while it was behind a year ago, is still ahead of last year, ahead as for the first 2 months of the year compared to the 24. So we just have a lot of things going on. Our statements, a worst case scenario, is supposed to be mailed from Spokane on next Monday. We hope it's mailed out quicker than that. So our previously PV pros taxes come in. Will be coming in this Monday. And based on the numbers, we're going to be short 145,000 for budget for current expense. which then they talk about how there's all these sales are happening, but it's not showing up in the PD privilege tax, but it is higher than last year. So I've got to rethink me reading the news and everything they say and don't give it as much credence for what actually gets remitted to the state. And that's it, except for the next meeting's on April 29th. And we're just dealing with a lot of phone calls in the office. Just waiting for the statements.
Me too.
Yep. And I have not sent forwarded that email to you yet that I said I was gonna send to you. Just been kind of busy, so that's all I have. Any questions for what I have?
I have a question. Why is the PUD tax lower than 145,000? I mean, why is it 145?
Well, when we disperse it, first thing is I have to figure out, and I'm working on that thing, since I only got the data on yesterday. Well, actually, I got the data on Friday. It was too late to put on your agenda for this week. And that has to be, I have to do some cover letter to tell you that this is the normal distribution, but you have to reaffirm if what you do in the past is the same way you want to do it for this year, or to choose a different method. And right now, the method that the commission's been doing for decades is the cities get their minimum amount of 0.0075 times their gross electrical sales. The fire in the North Central region get their small portions due to the nuclear power part of the equation, and the rest goes to incurring expense, of which then we're the amount that's going to current expense is 145,000 short of budget. And could be worse if you decide on a different methodology, where the money does not, all that money goes to current expense.
Okay, that's just our methodology as well. I was just curious, like, what was the methodology that it's usually decrease?
Well, it just comes down to the electrical sales.
Okay.
And somehow we're better 2 years ago than in 22 than 24, when we've got a lot more money.
When you say electrical sales, what are you talking outside of the?
No, within the county. And the amount, we also get PD privilege tax on gross sales to entities that are not governments. So that's wholesale, we get a tax on. But if we sell it to Yakima County, a governmental PUD, then they get to sell it and get the PD privilege tax in their county. So if whatever power is sold to PUDs is not a benefit to the county's revenue. Whatever revenue is sent to private entities and within the county, those benefit us.
So could that be why we're short, is they sell them more out in the open market that way?
Well, if the open market means selling to another government, then that harms us. If it means open market selling to the Puget Sound Energy, these entities are for-profit entities, or the one based in Spokane, then we get the revenue on it. We get a tax on those sales.
So that's a PUD question.
Yeah.
Well, I understand. It's kind of like if you don't sell enough homes, if you don't sell, if the power is down.
It just seems odd that we've got all these new construction and buildings and.
That's where I was saying is wherever the power that's not being used by REC, we want it to be used here, where we can get an income off it.
Correct.
If it's not used here and sold to a government entity outside us, then we lose money. But the PUD has a whole bunch of customers in line wanting access to that power.
But those are mostly in the county.
Yeah, that's why the PUD is a major, their actions is a major economic driver of this county. Almost everything flows through them. So it's their commissioners that are really determining the future of this county. And where they put in more power expansion and stuff like that, and what areas get served and what areas don't.
Do we collect only once a year
Yes, this is the one-time payment.
and based on 2024 sales?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
I just gotta work on that cover letter to go with the stuff I already have ready.
Thank you, Daryl.
Okay, that was quick and painless.
So for finances, expenses year-to-date are about 8.5 million through February, which seems on par with previous years. Our revenues are down a little bit, but we haven't yet to collect a bulk of our taxes. We'll start to see that trickling in next 2 months, Daryl?
Yep.
At least the first half of those, so that should become closer to even, hopefully. You will see your ARPA money, Commissioner Carter, in March's
Okay.
financial
I'm
report.
like looking, I just wanna, are we on this page? What are we?
Well, I was just on the cover and yeah, so then the next page will be the monthly expenses for
Because I don't
current.
mind all this stuff, so I'm just, bear with me as I.
Just current expenses for the monthly revenues and just reiterates Daryl's information.
Current expense, found it. Okay. Oh, and we'll do the transfer. Carrie, I think Carrie asked about the $500,000 transfer. Did we not transfer any of it previously?
No,
Okay, it's never been touched, okay.
so that should be transferred in March's activity.
That will help.
So yeah, you'll see a huge spike in revenues for Commissioner's office.
We need it.
Are there any questions about the revenue for the current expense?
Well, I'm looking at the expenses now.
Yeah, district court is down a lot, and I know that they were having a lot of issues in collecting payments in the last quarter of 2024, and I don't know if they're still continuing to have that issue, but that could be a part of their not meeting their mark in their revenues.
Depending on the questions for this 3:30 meeting, we may want to bring this data with us. Some of those questions that we didn't have to pre-answer.
Okay,
May
we've
come
got
from
our
this.
revenue from all other funds, expenditures, overtime summary.
And most of our expenses,
Still looking for the- Okay, I'm not finding my revenue for current expense.
should be right behind the cover.
Found it, okay, thank you. I'm like, man, I am like not finding it.
And trying to save a little bit of paper, I
No, thank
printed
you.
back and forth.
So what's happening with the ARPA lost revenue? Are we talking about that one?
Well, no, this is just ARPA was supposed to pay for some of Carrie Stockton's positions expenses each year, $100,000 for over a course of 5 years. And none of that money had ever been transferred over from the beginning, so we're catching up and transferring the whole 500,000 this year.
Carol, our account has looked like crap lately, so we need.
So and it's going into current expense?
Yes,
Okay,
well,
so-
Commissioner's office.
Well,
Yeah, current
right,
expense,
so
yeah.
our revenues, if that actually already happened, then our revenues would be at the same level.
It has not already happened, we're just getting ready to do it. It's on our consent agenda today.
Okay,
So
because,
it'll happen.
yeah, because we show the 6.8 million in the 193 account.
We'll get it, Daryl, we'll get looking better.
Most of that
Will
should
no
be
longer a
obligated,
drag to the budget.
if I'm not mistaken.
What was that, Mandy?
The 193, most of that is obligated to be spent already. It just hasn't happened.
Was it still spent
It's
towards
just
the auto
we're probably
fund,
gonna
or was
go
it
through
transferred to a different fund?
Most of it will come directly out of it. It's just a few like items that, like the expenses for the administrative position in the commissioner's office is a rare one that got transferred internally. But most of the ARPA money goes out to the community, to different entities.
So Daryl, where are you seeing the 6 million? I have.
He's way ahead of you. Like,
We're short 2 million for
in other,
the property tax, so I
He's-
see that word incorrect. 2 million for
Well,
our
that's,
insurance, and 2 million
what's the
for
revenue
code
summary?
payout.
Actually,
the last page, Kevin, is where he's looking at
Because
for,
we're not stable, so maybe that's my problem, right? Show me what your last page looks like.
Well, I don't know if it is this.
the last
It's a
page.
Revenue sum, when you say revenue summary, are you talking cash balance?
No, what do you
Okay,
mean?
I don't, oh, this is revenue summary. And so where is? Actually, so lost revenue, the cash is actually 4.5, or almost 4.6.
Yeah, but most of that's been obligated, so it's supposed to be spent down by next year.
2025, is it?
2020,
Yeah, and it
before
has to be
2026.
Done before 2025. Gotta take care of business here at the time, it doesn't take.
You got local fiscal recovery over 2.9.
Other than that 500,000, none of that is expected to be transferred back to current expense. If that's what you're looking
I
for.
thought the 2.9 was to go to the corner part of that.
Oh, for construction?
Or I think it's equipment, it's actually equipment for. We
Yeah, I
just
think we
need to be
had
for,
2 million set aside for corner equipment.
but I don't know if we transferred out of that equipment
So
into an
we
account.
We probably don't
fund
have
it.
a fund
No.
for corner. We need to probably create a fund for coroner's office
If we leave it in
and move
the
the
ARPA account,
REIT and the ARPA.
what our deadline, is it 2025 or 2026?
I thought obligated before December of 2025 and spent down by just end of 2026, but I don't,
By the end of
I think it
2026?
was obligated 24. And then
And spent down by
20
2025?
September 26 or something.
So if we transfer it out into the equipment for the coroner, that portion of it for the ARPA LTAC.
Are you wanting to have the same fund as the construction fund?
We could put it in the
It's
construction.
equipment for the building, not construction. But
Well, we didn't create a separate
Well,
equipment
yes,
fund for
Daryl,
the
it could probably
jail.
go into that account.
You know, the jail is a combination of multiple things as well. I just hate to create so many different funds.
We could probably
So
put it in
if we just create the corner construction fund and then transfer this money into it, and then the rest of the money, your closing gets transferred into it.
Right,
Mandy,
so
you keep track of
used
that?
for the coroner's office.
Right.
So I
Yes,
think
ma'am.
that would be sufficient.
Okay, we can do that.
did we designate the ARPA PILT fund to anything?
I thought that was what we
The
were using for
1.8
the work.
million? I don't think we did.
I would have to check with Carrie.
Here. Oh, Carrie, just let's see if Carrie can jump on. Our ARPA expert. Caitlin, can you see if Carrie can?
I'm messaging her.
Okay.
So it looks like,
ARPA PILT is at 1.742.
yes. Let me see what that's budgeted to be spent for.
Yeah, it's been,
Where are you seeing that, Robin? With,
it's on the back page of Grant County Revenue Summary and
oh,
other
okay,
funds.
okay, right there, thank you.
Oh, so yeah, I don't have the breakout of
Okay, Carrie is
the
on.
grants, but it is obligated 1.8 million this year to be spent down. So
It is
probably some of it's been
obligated?
spent.
Carrie, we cannot recall what the ARPA build was allocated for, do you recall?
What it was allocated for or the amount?
The amount, we have like we allotted 1.8 million.
Yeah, there's only been, we're right at just below that, because I think we've only spent like 140,000 of it.
Yeah. 104,000.
What's it designated for though, Carrie?
It's for county infrastructure. And basically we can use it for any county projects that we would spend, that the county would spend their own money on.
So it's not budgeted for this year?
Isn't this the money that the only thing you can't spend it on is lobbying?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so we have, we can put that towards the,
morgue.
yeah,
Uh-huh, yes.
I thought we already did, so sorry.
That was the other ARPA. Before Danny left,
Okay.
What was the amount that we designated from the other ARPA? Was it 2 million?
for the morgue,
Yeah.
let me look real quick.
Should probably get that spreadsheet.
Just below 900,000.
So, before you do the, first thing is transfers. If you hadn't planned on using the ARPA build for anything, first thing is what is the full cost of the corner project with the equipment? Because you don't want to put in too much money
Right.
and then have to do extraordinary measures to undo it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm adding up right now, because we have 900,000 from normal ARPA for the equipment, so that's like the MRI machine and the CT machine.
But and that's all used, because it was
Yeah.
over 2 million,
Then we
so-
have 1 million designated from REIT and the Economic Enhancement Fund.
Is that
And then
REIT
if
one?
we had that, you're
Yes.
talking
Okay, good.
3.6 million. 3.7.
Right, so if you don't need the money from ARPA build, then
Yeah.
we have some other issues.
We can just put it in current expense, is what you're saying?
You could say paying for increased law and justice costs. 'Cause that's definitely truthful. That definitely is undershorting just the increase from last year to this year. And that would help cover some of our expected revenue shortfalls.
Yeah, well, we can figure all that out once we get it.
Yeah, just if, what we're bonding for, just what is the difference? And do we got that difference covered? Then let's not have it go into a fund that is gonna not need it.
Does the PILT money have a spend down date?
No, it does not.
Oh, it does not.
Okay.
But I'd sure like to get rid of it by the end of this year.
Yeah, I don't want that.
There's no reason to linger on it and let it continue to fester.
I would just like to be careful of all budgets going to law and justice.
Well, I would say that when law and justice increases, sometimes the weight is felt, it transitions away from
everywhere.
everybody
Well,
else in current expense, and it's,
Well, that's the whole point is, when we passed the law and justice tax, it's not just impacting the jail. It's what all
Yeah,
the
it's
cities
all
did with the
different.
money and then increase the cost to the clerk's office and the courts and everything based on more officers happening at all these cities, which actually created more work for all these departments who didn't get staff increases to cover this work. And so that's why you may want to be putting that money in and have that considered to address the issues of those offices, of district court and the county clerk's office, and the prosecuting attorney's office. You know, they're the big impact of more work given their way.
So are you suggesting a one-time transfer of the balance to current expense with some sort of memorandum with the reasons why it's
Yeah,
supporting?
Just clear out the fund, put it in there, knowing that in reality, it's covering for the cost of the overall cost of law and justice and the impacts of what's going on. But since it's going into current expense, then we can cover some of our,
So that would cover our current expense shortfall. Or
cover
should
the
we say-
145,000
or should
we're gonna
we
be
say
short
that
on
in
pill
case there
and all
is
these things.
A finding or a financial impact, that a decision will be made from the Department of Revenue or.
And we still haven't processed the first two big refunds that we have. We sent the petitions to Melissa almost a month ago to sign.
So we have some
haven't
big
got it back
refunds
yet.
coming up.
So we're gonna lose current expense money on those. So we're just, now every time we deal with something that's now prior to 22 on a refund, I have to go send a letter to get permission to charge the state for their portion, instead of having the current expense fund pay the state's portion. So, and the state still can't tell me where to put it on the form. All I ask is,
Well, I don't know if I'm ready to put that in current expense ARPA bill, because we may need to,
Yeah, I'm
let's wait a month, let me think, because we may need to put it back, put it in there for,
I think until we know what the mortgage's gonna cost us, we should wait.
and then what these rebates or whatever you're calling
well,
them.
the rebates are coming out of current expense for our county portion,
You're talking about taxes that we
tax
collect,
refunds.
so we have to refund back to other
Yep.
entities.
So that's gonna make the current expense property tax revenue even less.
We don't want to call it a rebate, we want to call it a penalty rebate. So it's like, oh, we're getting a rebate. Okay, let's wait on that for a month, let me think about it. I think we all want to think about it.
Yeah, I'll be more than a month. For me. Cause not
I
all
don't know,
this
I'm not
stuff's
ready
gonna
to,
happen
yeah,
in
but
the
I'm not
next
ready to
month.
make a decision, but if
Yeah.
we're getting hit with
No,
these
I'd say 2 to 3 months probably.
penalty rebates that are
It'd be
gonna
nice to
cost us
see
a
what
couple
kind of
million.
tax income we have from property taxes as well. See what that looks like.
We could get surprised and just get more taxes than what we're anticipating. And on an upbeat note, let's continue forward.
Well, I don't have anything unless there's any questions.
Let's do the overtime, I saw the overtime. Overtime summary. County road. Mental health. County fair.
My office will be having some overtime that will probably be reflected in next month's report, since we had to change my payroll administrator's position from exempt to non-exempt. And that's how it will stay going forward, so.
How did the fairgrounds have? Oh, I guess it's just a little bit. It was just a little. No question. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong amount on the whole balances, as if we used that last month.
What is,
It's nothing, Daryl, move on.
you have
Services,
114 is actually, that must be a wrong title.
what are you talking about?
Economic and health.
Yeah, you have 113 economic and 114, that's not a correct title. 114.
So
I think that's.
these are all off. This is
Yeah,
tourism,
that's
114 is tourism, 115 is the renew CRP. I don't know what 116 is, so that must just have been a glitch.
Yeah.
But I will get it corrected for our report that we post online.
Now, that's one thing is you got over $5.9 million in 133 economic enhancement. That's the 5 months money that you're retaining. So that's where I was hoping to have some consideration of however you're spending it. There might be another source to cover shortfalls.
The 133
Yep.
has to be capital. Capital, or it
On the
could go for,
on the capital plan.
or it could be for it could be for salary for economic growth. It could be used for salaries.
So can you use to pay debt on capital?
130 is it capital? Yes.
Yes.
Because we currently use it for capital.
So
And you
then
can
there could be
stockpile.
another source for, instead of using the jail tax money, is using that money to pay the shortfalls of the debt.
For the jail,
During those 5 years.
Those 5 years, and that,
we could, but I
That
just.
reserve has 14 million in it, so I would
right,
use.
but if you have more flexibility on that reserve fund of spending and of having certain side, just, you're always trying to look at what's the least flexible monies
Mhm.
that you have to see how you spend those first before you go into the more flexible monies.
But the 133, we could use that instead of REIT to pay for, like, the remodel of the.
Then, yeah, Tom was asking about needing more money for the dentist building.
A little bit, it's pretty close. I think he found it in
Right,
his
so would
budget.
this be a source for
I
that?
think you found that
Okay.
yesterday.
So I mentioned that to him yesterday. So then other types of structures, maybe, or do you want to set aside some of this money for repurpose of the old jail?
You know, Daryl, right now, I feel like the county is pretty stretched out. We're going out for another bond for the jail. We knew we were
I
gonna be
know,
a
I
little
just
short on
wanted
that.
saying, we
It's
got
gonna
these
be-
monies sitting here that haven't hardly been touched.
But that's also going to be the fund used for the morgue.
The morgue for the balance of the, we
payment.
can't make the jail payments. I just
Well,
don't wanna
okay,
get
okay.
too crazy
We
on.
have 4 projects we're working on right now that I think we need to get.
I feel like
I'm not saying more projects, I'm just saying a different source to pay for them.
No, I understand.
We can always get the fund established and transfer some percentage of the money that we plan to use from REIT and economic enhancement and maybe possibly ARPA pill into that fund so that you're not using.
Doesn't look like we're sitting on there, but yeah, we thought it was gonna be less than 20 million, and every time we get it's like 30, 40, 50 million. The remodel, and I think right now we just, for me, just take a little breather and see how everything's shaking out before we move forward on.
Well,
I don't like vacating.
We did already designate 500,000 from REIT and from economic enhancement, and we plan to pay the more bond out of one of those. So that's going to start cutting it down anyways. And then any extra will, basically deplete it probably.
Yeah, I don't feel like I have a surplus of cash. I mean, I think we're gonna be using everything we have.
Right, and
But there's some good
of course, that
ideas.
10-year forecast, I was forecasting things at 20%, but I prefer it not be at 20%. But it was based on current policies that the county has. Now, as you can see, having more than 20% has always been advantageous to us. That creates more flexibility in decisions. All right, I've done enough juggling of different funds thrown at you in this one.
Anything for you, Mandy?
No, I'm good.
Commissioners have any questions?
So those are our budget numbers here.
So how was the numbers, how are we doing on employee benefits and medical costs? Are we
I haven't done
having
that.
a boring year, or are we having a year Are we where the fund can grow, or is it we have any extraordinary costs?
Who said that to us? Who was that then? The medical cost?
And your hair's different.
These there.
What do we call that little Excel spreadsheet?
Well, that makes
The
your
health-
hair way
The health
different.
benefit
Yes.
analysis, is that what you're?
Yeah.
If I create the morgue fund, it would be nice to put some money in it. So do you want me to initiate the transfer from REIT and economic enhancement at a minimum?
Okay, so creating the more fund, take out the REIT that we budgeted for and just
Economic
transfer it out.
just
Yeah,
transfer
no,
it.
since we've already budgeted.
I mean, I have to bring it to you guys to create the fund. I might as well bring the transfer as well and
Yep.
get that done.
So that would be perfect.
Yeah, cause I think we're getting to where we might actually make something happen.
Now you just need to decide where. Do you have a meeting to make that decision coming up?
We probably need to have at least 500 in there. 500,000.
And which one? For the morgue? Well, we have 1 million designated. We just need to create the fund.
Yeah, so go ahead and create the fund. When you create the fund, we'll do all the transfers that we budgeted for the 2025.
Perfect.
And then those are just done, and we don't have to try and remember. Karen, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
3:30 today, are we coming down here? I'm assuming you guys will be here, but,
It is not a quorum scheduled meeting.
so online is okay?
Yep. You have your financials
Rob,
handy right there.
You're the only one here.
Carol, what's wrong?
Yeah, I was
No,
gonna be here
I'll
or
probably
online.
be here. Are you gonna be here, Well,
I can be.
I just,
Whatever you'd like, Daryl, I'll do for you.
The hearing room will be open for you guys.
Yeah.
If that's the question that you're looking for.
Yeah, I'll come in person.
Okay. Well, I might as
I'm still trying to
well.
pull up the health
Yeah,
insurance.
3:30.
Open record, public hearing.
We have 2 hearings, I think, and then this is the DA Davidson
Right, that's at 3:30.
it's not going to be public. I don't think it can be, but I don't remember. Barb, why did we only have 1 commissioner on that meeting?
It was, the commissioners don't have to be there for it.
That's fine.
I just,
You brought it up yesterday, right?
yes, I had asked you guys if you wanted to be there, that way we would know if there was a quorum.
Mandy, I am not finding the insurance. Who sends the insurance? Is it Larissa?
Probably better. We
No,
have one.
Aaron?
It's
I mean,
our,
I hadn't gotten a
it's our-
response from.
our rep who I think
you
sends
guys
it
know,
out,
and so we
but hold on,
advertised
I
it Just in
can,
case there was a quorum there, so if you wanted to be there,
You can be there.
you
I don't
can.
remember his name.
We just, if there's not a quorum, then Rob
I
can just
just
open it and
can't
say, there's no quorum, so we're gonna close
Send
the
you a new
public,
one.
whatever.
Won't record it.
Yeah.
I think you'd rather do that.
They're gonna use our Zoom link.
because looking at the questions, some of these questions are things we may be more casual about or we're responding to questions of the bond rating agencies. Okay, so it's not where we get to discuss our answers and then give an answer. And so you have a slight sensitivity
Well,
to
that's what I'm saying.
the answers.
Yeah, I think if we just have one commissioner here.
Right, you have a sensitivity where we discuss what should be the answer that's honest, but not give an answer that's too much. Because too much information may harm us depending on the question.
Daryl, I don't think anybody in this board gives a really lengthy answer. Those days are long gone.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's just talking about the economy of Grant County, which just like every county everywhere in the United States, everything's a little flux, and so, but we're supposed to not talk about the negative possibilities.
Well, we still are online though.
Kevin, I'm just gonna say, it's not a bad thing. I wasn't meaning it derogatory. It's just sometimes our answers would take a while to deliver. And we're very,
And then
It's
they're
no problem.
recording the answers, they're taking our answers and then they are sending the responses to the bond rating agencies. So sometimes an answer, I may be asking for further clarification of what that question means. And that might happen on every single question. So just ponder that.
I sent you a copy of the latest one that we have.
okay, well, let's, you sent it to all the commissioners. We're still in the insurance. Mandy just sent us the insurance. When I looked at it, it wasn't healthcare.
Did you get George right now?
We're gonna look at the benefits.
Healthcare analysis.
All right.
Kevin, you just click in that email from Mandy, you will see.
He hasn't gotten it yet. Hold on. One second.
Okay.
Now you guys should have it.
I don't have it.
Hold
It took
on.
me about
I'm
a
just
year
kidding.
to understand this, like, what does this mean? Well, this is we pay premiums, the difference between paying the premiums to collect the revenue versus what we pay out. And we've got to build a little bit, because we've got to have 3 months of payout in case we were to stop. For insurance.
And I mean, the projection has it, our reserves continuing to grow. But of course, we could have one bad month and
That's never happened. So February was, anyway, it's good, the December invoices are catching up to us. Oh, sorry, I had to. So Kevin, did you get it? Oh, scroll over. The other way. Oh, wait, maybe scroll down. Okay, scroll up, sorry, scroll up. Okay, so that little form,
It's in a decent spot right now.
Right here.
yeah, but go up a little more. Okay, so that, right there. So this is revenue we collected. This is what we paid out for medical. And this is some other adjustments, whether we had to pay stop loss, we got rebates back, so that was a positive. So then you can just see what the balance is. So last month we collected $1,085,000, we spent out $1,018,000. We got rebates, you know, so it's just, we gotta make sure that what we collect is more than what we spend out. But some months it gets, we just have high, like, is it July sometimes some months, usually January, February, everybody wants to get their
like their new
procedure,
classes
whatever.
and
Yeah,
their,
they're like, they hurry. But we have to have it after all this is said and done, in case we're gonna close our doors or switch to a conventional insurance where we're not self-funded, we have to have 3 months of payout in a reserve, and it's regulated by the state. And monitored by the state.
That's always fun.
Yeah, it's a real joy.
yeah,
But it's
opioid.
getting, we used to have a lot of money and didn't really keep track, but we've had some years where we've had some huge claims, you know, multiple claims. Our stop loss is 500,000, 350. What's our stop loss, 250? 250, 300,000, but we've had some high users, so if we have somebody that chronically hits that every year, they move that one individual to $500,000. So every year we had to hit $500,000, then stop loss would kick in. But I believe that employee is no longer with us.
$500,000 a year, doctor costs.
Yeah,
There's more than that on some of them.
that was an ongoing, I think it's monthly infusion treatments or dialysis, whatever the treatment was. they were relatively healthy as long as they had the medication or whatever whatever was going on, they were a high producing employee.
Well, it is most likely that our self-insurance program will be part of our audit this year, since they're required to review it every 2 years, and we're doing a 2-year audit.
Yeah, on the end of the year, I don't know if HR, somebody has to submit some information. So if you have any questions, it gets a little confusing, but.
Yeah, I'm sure that, they're gonna be looking at everybody's funds. trying to figure out.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't hear from Sam Castro.
Maybe cut a program or two. Well, I think that's all.
Anything else for you guys?
Oh, I think we're good.
All right, we'll go into recess until 1 p.m. when we are back for HR update. Good afternoon, it is 1 p.m. and we're here for our human resources update. Welcome Gina and Decorah.
No, thank you. Okay, 1 and 2, I don't have any items on that part of my agenda. 3, I do have a few topics that I will need to go into executive session for.
How long do you need?
10 minutes?
Okay.
Okay, so my question is on this, when we do an executive session, Barb, do you want us to go under one, labor relations, come out, go under employee evaluation?
You've done it always, so one day you do it one way.
Well, how would you like it? That's what I'm asking you.
I guess whatever your preference is.
It's all under disciplinary matters.
Different, yeah, but it's different RCWs, labor. Oh, we don't have labor relations.
I don't have any labor relations
Okay, I'm
today.
sorry.
I don't have any employee evaluations.
Okay,
It's all
okay.
under.
I'm sorry, I was thinking. We're doing all 3, okay.
Yeah.
We'll try to research that, figure out how we are supposed to be doing that if we need to. Because I think that's been a question mark.
10 minutes?
Yes, please.
4? Discipline or evaluation?
Disciplinary matters.
Okay, we're going to go into executive session beginning at 1:01 p.m., returning at 1:11 p.m. for personnel disciplinary matters, RCW 42.30.1101F.
You got it, Rob?
Yes. We're going to extend for, you want 5? I'd kind of like 10. See how many.
We miss professionals.
For 10 more minutes until 1:21 p.m. We are now out of executive session. It is 1:21 p.m.
Okay, item 4, position management. Sorry, I have a typo in there. Sheriff will move down to, after I go over auditor and commissioner positions. So yesterday at PMR, we heard about the accountant position and the mail service clerk position. So accountant was to take it's a reclassification of the accounting deputy. Oh, clerk, sorry, I always say deputy, accounting clerk, and making it a full-time accountant position. Does the board have a decision?
I'm good with it.
Okay, Cindy?
I would agree.
Okay. Yes, 3 yeses, thank
Savings
you.
of at least $4 or $40.
Second position was a mail service clerk.
Yes, and I believe that entire budget will probably have to be, Tom found out during the budget process, if in 2023, if that budget wasn't used, they zeroed those out, so it didn't get carried over. So for 2 years, he thought he had that position, kind of a part-time position, the budget in there, and then Vanessa just looked into it and they lost it a while back. So apparently, we'll probably just do a budget extension for the mailroom to cover his wages, or we may not need to. But
so it'll just be covered. It'll be covered by commissioner's budget. Okay. And so that was a yes from you, Cindy. Kevin, that was a yes. Rob? Yes.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay. 2 weeks ago, we talked about the command staff's wages. Did you want to you still have your documents? Do you need them?
I don't have my documents, but I'm pretty firm on how I stand.
Pretty good to hold them where they're at until this whole deal's done.
Same increase that every other elected official receives. That would be the increase. Instead of changing it, altering it.
None of that, that was not one of the options. And you can do that, we would need to run the numbers.
Okay, it was
We didn't know about this other issue before.
So. You tell us what you'd like us to do.
You guys want new numbers?
I would like new numbers,
Okay, what are you thinking?
whatever we were. Just the standard elected official
So
increase.
it would just stay like it is right now. Currently, the sheriff should be getting an
He
increase
should have gotten the COLA.
in July. He'll be getting another one in July 1. All the other elected officials, except for the commissioners, get ours January 1. So, and then he'll be getting another one.
Oh, okay, so I just want to make sure I'm understanding. You guys want the command staff wages to reflect what?
Oh, we have the command staff. I'm thinking of the
Oh.
sheriff.
Yeah, no, it's just the command staff.
Joe, the sheriffs will come in July, like you said. For
So the command
command,
staff, they should be getting it through 2.7, like everybody else.
they did receive COLA for both years. This is the spread between the
Yes,
lieutenant and the chief deputies. And then the undersheriff subsequently.
Keeping the 10% spread.
That's a request, but we provided 2% spread, 4% spread, 6% spread as options, as well as the standard.
Totally honest, I'm probably not in a really like fair. I would say
Would you like to hold it another week?
No.
Instead of
I would,
making,
because
I like
I just,
2-week hold.
because I think to be neutral on this.
Okay. And if you do need more
Well,
data,
no.
just let us know and we can get you that data.
And that's just me,
Just for full transparency, the sheriff did request in position management to do a resolution so that this topic doesn't come up every year. I talked to Decor this morning about potentially reaching out to our labor attorney to discuss that option, to see if that's even something that you guys should consider. So I will do
and
some
again, then it
research.
triggers, when there's a resolution, then,
It just happens.
well, it happens, and then you've got negotiations going on with those that will be receiving a benefit from the negotiation process.
Sure.
I think that's where.
Which is part of the discussion with the labor attorney to see.
Part of the issue.
Yeah.
And then, and you also want to do the resolution, so he didn't have to do this every year.
I think it's kind of a nice checks and balance, doing it annually.
And then, Rob, I wanted to follow up with you on veteran services. You had a meeting last Thursday about space? Was that? did you
Yeah, it went good.
Follow with Tony and,
Judge Gwen and Desiree, they sound to be supportive of using the space in the Wheeler building. Friday, I think it was Friday, I went there with Swahil and 2 of her employees. They looked at it, they seemed good. They have some requests. The printer area in that building, or in that office area, is a shared space. But I think WSU owns all the material, like all the papers and all that. I think Grant County owns the printer. So there's just some stuff that I need to get with Tom about, because obviously extensions are gonna need to be changed, and some desks are gonna need to be put in. Basically, Youth Services is putting together kind of like a dream list of what they would like and need there.
Sure.
And then they were gonna give that to me, and then I was going to give it to Tom, or go with Tom and go talk about it. One thing that they didn't really like was that there are no windows in that building
Hmm.
for the offices, whereas right now, they have windows. So I got it. I understood the lights in there aren't very good. They're fluorescent. So like when you're, I don't know about you guys, when I'm under it for a while, I kind of get a little,
Yeah, headache.
yeah. So I understood what they were saying. So I just said, hey, things that you would like to see or improvements that have to be made, things you need, then I would like to know. Andy McGuire also asked what was happening. So I told him that no decisions had been made yet, but we're still looking at doing it. He would just like a heads up, right when our decision's made, I'll let him know what we decided. But he's been there each time that I've been there. So he does know what we're doing also in the building. There will be a couple badge entries that need done. So that is why I need to talk to Tom also, but it looks to be going forward well. So they will access out of the WSU veterans side down the hallway all the way to the end. They will kind of go through a storage area. There's a badge access right there to enter into the back hallway of district court. There are bathrooms right there also. So it's the public bathroom hallway. And then we just need a badge entry into that big break room. And they need to decide if they're gonna do 2 conference rooms there or just 1.
So are we waiting for that to post?
Waiting for you,
Tony's.
to post?
Yeah, Tony's
I'm not sure,
position?
they had said they made space for the position.
With
I
the
haven't,
current person, they can move her over by Tony.
Okay.
Some people around.
but I
Okay.
haven't been to the Ivy office yet. Tony has called me and asked what's going on. I did tell him, I think we're good. And then I met with Gwen, and he was supportive of it, said he looked at it.
Okay,
And who's helping in the hiring process?
I will be
Somebody from HR.
for Tony's position. Yeah, I'll be helping him. Okay,
So we are posting?
I heard we are posting. Okay. And so I'll get in contact with Tony and get all the details and how long you'd like to post it for.
And I'll email Swahil to see if they have their needs ready yet. So I don't know if they'll need to move. I know they have supplies there. I don't know if they share there. So I need to go to Ivy also and kind of just see, are you guys completely separated at this door? Or do you share anything? I think they're separated.
What about a printer? Do they have
Yeah,
printers?
Youth Services has printers in there, so we would just need to move them and kind of reorganize the print room. And then we have I think there's 4 offices available for Youth Services. They're gonna use one as a office conference room. There's a middle conference room that they can reserve and use for staff type meetings. And then another conference room, which would be the district court break room for training for kids.
Does youth services currently have any staff in Moses Lake?
Yeah, they have 3.
Oh, okay.
On Ivy.
Yeah,
But
2
yeah, I
to
don't
3
know if
daily.
it's there all the time. Isn't it just
Yeah,
for
2
after
is
school?
daily.
Oh, okay.
And then 3 to 4 is the max. I don't remember all their names. But I have met with 3 of them.
Thank you for that update. Don't have anything on budget, finance, and compensation today. Recruiting. Dan emailed the 3 of you the county executive job description for your review and suggestions. So,
And replied and said it looks good.
so if you have
And
any.
this position will be over all the department heads.
Take your time to review it. Please put any input in that you might have. If you want modifications or would like to add anything, we're happy to do that. Just make sure you review it well and let us know.
And you give us a drop dead date.
I did
I
ask
think
him to
April
give you a
something,
date.
like, give me a date. I'm gonna answer him now. I've read through it and yeah, I think if we're okay with Which I think that is the point of having a county administrator working with the elected, or the department heads.
Be a liaison
The-
with the electeds and then over the department heads. Budget, assist with that. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks like a good plan.
yeah, okay. And then lastly, we have Tyler, we have a meeting coming up, or scheduling for April 22nd, so I'll take the first look at the flyer for to meet with department heads and electeds.
This is gonna go. For what?
Yes.
Bring some cookies, maybe some
Bring
sugar
cookies. To talk about time and attendance, what that's gonna look like. Again, we have an IC from Tyler who will be online with us and be able to show a high overview of what time and attendance is gonna look like for Grant County. And then afterwards, Gina and I will attempt to answer any questions that people might have. This is the time, at this meeting, this is where Gina and I look for the three of your support in keeping things, everybody doing the same thing for a full year, clocking in, clocking out for the year, so we have that good baseline with this new program. I'm hoping that there won't be issues with Tyler, but given we're from the HR side, all we have found are some issues, so having that consistency will help.
You have a little bit of time to fix them.
Uh-oh. Will you circle it?
There's an error on it.
No, I'm just saying, the Tyler program. You
Oh.
got 22
Oh,
days.
I thought we just.
I thought so. What did we do?
Me too. I'm like, oh, circle it, because
Circle around, we can circle around.
for my notes, Cindy will be baking cookies.
I we need a chair, I don't know if cookies are gonna be, they may need to be enhanced brownies, I don't know what they
Oh my
need to be.
gosh.
Yeah.
I think everybody has heard about it, they may not be happy, but I think.
Yeah, I think
Should
that
be
this is a good
relatively simple.
opportunity to start the conversation. It's a change. Human nature is to not like change. People are gonna struggle with it. I'm gonna struggle with it. It's something new. So, but I think if we all go in it as positive as we possibly can and be consistent with between each department and office, I think we have a good shot of having it be a useful tool.
So what will be the consequences if somebody doesn't use it?
Won't get paid.
Well, yeah, if you're not doing it, there's no time recorded, therefore you didn't work. I mean, at any other position, any other job, it is standard practice to clock in and clock out,
I agree.
to document your time. So if you're not documenting your time, there will in the end be consequences. And that will come out of policy of where the board would like those consequences to be held at. Do you get a couple missed punches and coaching and counseling and then move into discipline, or is it, there's lots of options, but we want it to be a useful product and tool for department heads and
My
all.
next question would be, what's the union gonna say about it? Because obviously, they're gonna have something to say about it, just because they're a union. There should
They
be
will.
policies
We
to
do
tell
have time and attendance in, I think, a majority of the contracts already. It was under Nova time, but Nova time then wasn't implemented across the county because some departments and offices didn't want to do it, and there was no reason for them to. Where this is, the implementation of Tyler is across all, that it's a little different than when Nova time came in, so.
And I'll share a quick story. I know of somebody who started at a new employer, and it was a large employer, and they were supposed to record their time and submit their timesheet. So they had been recording their time, but forgot to submit their time. Well, they're all adults. Nobody told him, nobody warned him, and he didn't get his first paycheck. Goes to payroll, says, hey, I think there was an error. I didn't get my pay stub. I didn't get paid. And the payroll person said, you didn't submit your timesheet, therefore you weren't paid. And that was the first and last time that that person ever forgot to submit their timesheet. It only takes one time.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. When I started at Renew many, many years ago, way before it was Renew, that's what I was told. If you don't submit a timesheet, you don't get paid. I was on time with my timesheet every week. Well, at that time it was on a month paid basis. That was many moons ago, but yeah. Okay, that is what I have for you today. Do you have anything for us?
I think I've asked all my questions.
Okay.
Probably want an update, but we need to probably go into executive session for 5 minutes. For that, it would be, I think the one we just have, employee review.
Evaluation. 5 minutes. Okay, we are going to go into executive session beginning at 1:40 p.m. for evaluation, RCW 42.30.1101G. Yes.
So, just setting
It
the
is 1:45
expectation.
p.m. and we are out of executive session. I'll trade you.
Okay. Anything further?
Well, sorry about not making a decision on the other, but I just feel like they will work.
Nope, that's okay. We'd rather I think everybody would rather have a well thought out decision than a decision where that's made either in time of emotion or in a time of
Stress.
distress, maybe.
My emotions,
Yeah.
highly distressed.
Did you have any more items?
I do not have any more items.
Okay.
How is?
Do you have other items for me that
You
I'm
sound like
not
you've got
recalling?
something.
No, I can just talk to you.
Okay.
So how's it working with our new risk manager?
I think things are going well. He's got big shoes to fill, and I think
He's
he's,
got some shoes that, yeah, we've nobody's
yeah,
ever worn
it hasn't
before,
happened,
it's
so he's creating it as he goes along.
How's your class going, your training?
My class is going really
For
good.
leadership, we got a
We're a
week
break
off.
week this week, and I've learned a lot. I think it's been very helpful. You come in on my whiteboard, I've got all the things on there and little quotes and graphs and stuff. So yeah, I've enjoyed it a lot, and I hope more people do attend and put effort into it. You're gonna get out of it what you put into it. So
One of my cohorts, she's a risk manager down south, and she actually is the one that has to figure out the budget. She was talking about, explaining where she gives information, like, I'm gonna give you just a little bit of information, because if I go through all my spreadsheets and how we figure out, but I really want to hook the two of them together, because we need to figure out our insurance and how we, and they're self-insured for their liability, but, how do you determine who pays what? We kind of do a little guess, like, well, the fairgrounds has a portion,
Sure.
commissioners have. So I would love for them to visit, and
yeah,
I may see.
can
if
make
they
that connection with them.
can,
Yeah.
do that breakdown, because we do need to divide up our insurance.
And I think
Better, we have 2 million hanging out there that has not been added in, so we need to do that.
part of that leadership is building that network of people, of other leaders that we can learn from and they can learn from us. And so I think it's a good experience.
Yes. Every day. All day long. It's been great. Tender Mercy have their same Harvard.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So Rob, you'll follow up with me?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Still the beans.
Oh, no, it's just mixed things.
Okay.
I did get the list from Swahil from her staff, so
Okay.
I'll work on that some more. And, yeah. Okay,
Sounds good.
all right.
Okay,
we're going to
thank
recess
you.
till 2 p.m.
No, I don't.
I have it for you, Jerry.
Okay.
Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, March 25th, 2 p.m., and we are here for our weekly commissioners meeting. I will now call the meeting to order and begin with an open forum for public input, 3 minutes per person, 15-minute total time limit. Do we have any public comment that would like to be made?
It's your
If
turn.
you
Is it
wanna
us?
come up
Okay.
to The podium. that'd be
Here?
great. Yes, please.
Okay. Hi, my name is Suzanne Pitts. I live in Wenatchee. And the three of us are here representing, we're board members of an organization called Friends of Ukraine Refugees, also based in Wenatchee. We have Grant County residents and voters who work with our organization. Unfortunately, none of them were able to be here this afternoon. So I'll read our prepared statement. We come to you on behalf of hundreds of private citizens and voters in Chelan, Douglas, and Grant counties who have donated, volunteered, and rallied in support of Ukraine refugee families living in our 3 counties. We submit a petition signed by 199 local Washingtonians in support of all Ukrainians fighting for their nation's sovereignty and democracy. Our charitable organization, Friends of Ukraine Refugees, was formed in Wenatchee shortly after Russia began its war of aggression on Ukraine in February of 2022. Our mission has been to help stabilize Ukraine refugees who fled Russia's devastation of their homeland and settled in our 3 counties. Hundreds of supporters have donated money, time, and other resources to help refugee families make the transition to stable and productive life here. The United States government established legal pathways for Ukraine refugees to enter our country and find work to support their families. Approximately 50 Ukrainian refugee families have followed the arduous path to become contributing citizens here in Central Washington. We ask all our elected representatives to honor the laws of the United States which allowed refugees to build lives here free from persecution, to forge new lives for their children with peace and stability. Legal refugees who came to live and work here must not have their legal status suddenly revoked and be forced to leave or live in the shadows. We must speak out loud and clear that the USA will continue to back Ukraine's commitment to its freedom and self-government. And we must honor the legal status of refugees living peacefully among us. Thank you for your attention. We're happy to answer questions. And now I'll hand off to, I have the petition that I mentioned with the signatures. And I know Maria sent you these other documents. So you have you have those. You don't need that. Okay. So I'll now pass off to Jerry Lissowich.
Okay. My name is Jerry Lissowich. I reside in Chelan, well, town of Chelan, and the county, of course. And the little petition I'd like to read to you here. A petition in support of Ukraine and refugees from the war in Ukraine. Sunday, March 9th is when the event was held in Chelan. We, the undersigned, registered voters and people of Chelan, Douglas, and neighboring counties of the state of Washington do hereby petition our elected representatives. We ask you to continue steadfast support to provide our local, state, and national support of Ukraine, including but not limited to our support of the sovereignty, government, and armed forces of Ukraine. It's in our defensive and offensive. It's in our defensive and offensive weaponry. It's in our cybersecurity, our economic aid, and our funding to rebuild Ukraine. We ask you to continue steadfast the longstanding policy of the United States to vigorously oppose the violation by Russia of the sovereignty of Ukraine, which policy the United States began with the invasion of the Crimean Peninsula by Russia in 2014, and which policy the United States continued uninterrupted after the invasion by Russia of the remainder of Ukraine in 2022. We ask you to continue to help stabilize refugees from the war in Ukraine who reside in north central Washington, who reside in other regions of our state, and who reside in these United States. At the local and state levels, we ask you to continue to provide economic assistance to refugees from the war in Ukraine and who have not yet obtained gainful employment or are unable to obtain employment due to infirmity. At the federal level, we ask you to continue to provide to these refugees their temporary protective status and their employment authorization documents, and we ask you to expedite the granting of their family petitions and their asylum petitions. We ask you to continue uninterrupted the forceful economic sanctions in place today that were first ordered against Russia by President Barack Obama in 2014 and were continued by President Donald Trump in 2016 and were further continued by President Joe Biden in 2022. With multiple petitions. A little personal, Big Net, of Ukrainian heritage. I came over in '49. My parents escaped the Russians, barely. I had a father and an uncle who were persecuted in a Russian prison camp. I think over 7 years, came back home. So I'm of Ukrainian heritage, but one thing I'd like to really emphasize is since I've been in this country since '49, I'm still overwhelmed by the graciousness, the politeness, and the kindness that's been extended to me, my family, and many other Ukrainian families that I've known. In other words, the United States has been a very welcoming home for us. And I'm proud to be an American citizen, and I'm also proud of my Ukrainian heritage. And I'm proud to see the American support that's been given to the country in this time of need. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing your story.
Do we have any more public comment in the audience? Hearing none. Barb, we have 3 call-in users.
We do. Call-in users, I'm going to allow you to speak. Joe Ketterer, do you have any public comment today?
I do. May I proceed?
Bet.
Okay, thank you. I'll be as loud as I can. I'm kind of in a large room here. In the limited time I have, I wanted to express my family's appreciation and our neighbors' appreciation for the West Shore Drive project. The sidewalks that are going to be added over the next couple of months here are a welcome addition to the area so we can more safely enjoy the lake view and the atmosphere out there. We were not initially too thrilled about the 6-inch curves versus the rolling curbs. This was kind of a last minute adjustment. I think it's a negative impact, especially when we consider the agricultural residents and businesses in that area. However, we do appreciate the reduction of the speed limit from 35 to 25, as this is a mainly residential area that has suffered historically from speeding out there. So we do appreciate that. What I wanted to share today primarily is today I received a phone call notification from Tyler Brady, and it was further validated by Bob Bersanti about the need on our residential property along West Shore Drive between roads 3 and 4 for the removal of our fence that has been there since we purchased the property in 2020, a removal for approximately 8 to 10 feet into the property. So that whole front line of metal and chain link fencing due to the right-of-way for that project. So my inquiry remains that, is there a financial support to have some of that fence safely removed and or replaced? And what support is there for other residents or businesses that are currently being impacted by similar issues? Ultimately, I've been given notice about my fence that will be torn down by the contracted company in about 2 weeks. My question truly is, why wasn't this notification given and or resolution found? This could have happened months or years ago during the project planning. So I want to make that aware to the commissioners and those that are tuning in that for this project, we're getting last minute notifications about removal of fencing, et cetera, due to the right of way. And see if there's any resolution that can be found. So thank you for the time.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. I don't know if we have anybody from Public Works here. I'll just kind of answer. I didn't realize sometimes there's an encroachment on the right of way, and it's not a lot of fun when there is a fence in the right of way. The county doesn't enjoy it. The resident does not enjoy it. Do you by chance have a permit to be working in the right of way? Because a lot of times if there is that permit, they would have given, the county would have issued permission to put that fence in. And if they did, then the county, I believe, would help pay for it. That would have been in that permit. That would have been vetted in the permit process.
Sure, and thank you, Commissioner. I think the question was if there was a permit. We did the research and apparently the previous owner did not have a permit for it. I think ultimately it comes back to the point of why the notification 2 weeks in advance that it would be torn down when this project has been on the docket with matching funds for months and years. So that was the major part of the frustration. And if I'm bringing this to the board's attention, then ultimately I'm sure there are others that might be facing a similar issue and have that frustration and wanted to see if there's any kind of resolution there.
And I will say, I didn't know anything about this until today. So I think this is something that new that, yeah, you will probably be the first of many that contacts us, and we can reach out to Public Works and visit with them about it, see what's going on. I'm just trying to pull up the map right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, Joe, that's something we'll have to talk to Public Works about, try to prevent this from happening in the future.
Okay, next on the list is Cami. Cami, do you have any public comment today?
Thank you.
No. And last, we have our own Carrie Stockton. Carrie, you're allowed to speak if you have any public comment today.
All right, we have no more additional public comments. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay. Motion is approved. Agenda is approved. Do we have any correspondence, emails, letters of support?
I just want to say, I think our friends did leave us from the petition to support the Ukraine refugees. Probably in 2020, I'm just guessing, maybe before that, we did sign a thing in Grant County where we're a county, I don't know how to state this correctly, but we do support the refugee movement here in Grant County, so we did sign it. It could have been before probably pre-COVID. It's probably more like it when it happened, so I did want to share that. I'm sorry, Rob, so that was my only correspondence. I just wanted to.
You're good.
I do not have any.
Commissioners, any other correspondence? We will continue to the round table portion then. Do we have any round table topics? Caitlin, Barb?
We will have one walk-on.
What is the walk-on?
It is the ordinance that Jim Anderson Cook presented to you yesterday.
It's the wind energy ordinance that.
Does it have to be walked on?
Well, I think it was the problem was it was on our agenda this week, but because of the wording, how it was presented on the agenda, this is just clarifying that we are leaning towards or moving. Well, Jim, you can explain it better.
So we could do it one of two ways. We can either take this item up separately, or we can move to amend to amend the agenda, the consent agenda, to consider and adopt the moratorium. And that's what probably should have happened in my open public meeting yesterday, is for the commissioners to consider to take into consideration and make a recommendation to approve the moratorium. So however we want to do it here, whether we want to make a motion to amend the consent, or if we want to take it up separately.
Well, we would do the walk-on in addition. I guess my question is, I don't like wind power. I think it's whatever I think it is, but I also don't like the idea of like walking it on quick to pass the moratorium when we could have put it on consent the normal way. So I guess that's where my struggle is. I hate the idea of like passing it without any public notice. It just seems not great for us to do that. That's my only struggle with it.
And what we were attempting to do Monday during my update was to create a separate public record, which was the advice of our outside counsel, as opposed to putting it on consent, because the fear of putting it on consent is your fear, is that it gets jumbled up and with, in this case, 22 other items. And that would be the perception that it's being snuck through. So we can most certainly put it on for next week. If that's what makes you.
So
What
Jim,
makes
is
you.
time of the essence on this? I know 2 of the 3 commissioners signed it,
Yeah.
so thinking it was, we were taking action because it was on your, it was an action item, but apparently it wasn't worded fully how it should have been.
Right.
So is there a possibility of put it on your agenda next Monday?
Well,
again?
we could, yeah, we could do that, or if it makes everybody more comfortable, we can just put it on regular consent. It doesn't need to be in my agenda for my update next week. That feels redundant when we can, I mean, we have done it on regular consent along with other things pretty consistently. When I had it reviewed today by our outside counsel, and their expert on open public meetings, they made the observation that Grant County, for the most part, always puts items like this on consent, even though we are at risk for having the perception of having it be made to appear that we are trying to sneak one in, so to speak. So, but we have a history of having done that in the past, so it's probably pretty safe to do it again.
What would be the better way to do it? To do it in your meeting update or to have a special meeting?
Either way, to create a separate, a clearly advertised, clearly publicized separate record would be the better way. So whether that be, again, in my public meeting where we word it to be, taking into consideration and approval, because we have to have a public hearing on this within 60 days, no matter what, after the adoption of the ordinance.
Can we do a special meeting on like Tuesday at 11:15 or something and advertise it as what we're doing?
Kind of like how you did with the bond resolution.
Yeah, like that.
I think that would be the most appropriate way to go.
Because I would say let's do it Thursday, but then it's like you made a decision on a Tuesday and passed it on a Thursday. I don't really necessarily want to do that either. But if that's possible, I would like to advertise normal, its own meeting, special meeting, whatever resolution, ordinance, and then pass it then. Like Cindy said, it does have 2 signatures already, so. Commissioners, any opinions?
I'm okay with doing it that way. I mean, at least that way the public has notice and they can't come back and say that we didn't have a public meeting about it before we signed it.
Calendar next.
It looks like 11:15 to 12 is open.
Yeah, next week.
You all right with that, Jim?
Yeah.
Or Jim, to add one more meeting.
any walk-on items, or was that the item? Okay. Are there any other roundtable topics?
Yes, you were gone during our discussion earlier today. Item number 18, the fairgrounds approved to request Sage Hill Veterinarian Clinic and Columbia Basin SNAP to waive fees for the use of fairground buildings. Do we want to have them, thank you, Jim, do we want to have them just not charge, or do we want them to charge and like bill the commissioners? Because I think it's a great, we can take it out of miscellaneous general government, and that is the same fund that we pay animal coverage.
Yeah, on
It's going to be
these,
coming.
events like that, I support it because it is part of what we're trying to do. Even if we donate it, I'm okay with that, but I definitely think we should have a cleaning cost because they have to be cleaned. So either way.
But do we want it, because I think it's valuable, and they're donating their time and services.
So I think what we're trying to figure out is, should we pay for that cleaning
Should we pay for the cleaning costs, because I don't think it's Jim's budget.
Did Jim give one?
No, but when we kind of tell Jim, like, Jim, go ahead and, do this for free, do this for free, I'm like, Jim,
Yeah, I'm
how
good
come you're
with
not,
that.
how come you're not, running
Yeah,
in the
why aren't you
red?
profiting? Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I like that idea. At least
So-
pay the cleaning or.
Bill the miscellaneous general government for cleaning.
Yeah.
Bill miscellaneous general government.
Whichever one that we pay the,
Yeah, it's miscellaneous general
yeah,
government.
then I would be fine with that. Are there any other consent agenda items that stood out when you guys reviewed them this morning?
Number 24, they will be incinerating their meth and
Tony,
there's a proposed
21.
eyewitness,
Yes.
if we need an eyewitness from our office.
He said it was not as entertaining as it sounds.
And the sheriff.
Somebody does have to view those, yes. Okay, I have no other questions. Mr. Chair, I move that we approve consent agenda items 1 through 22, noting that number 18, we will contact the Grant County Fairgrounds and ask them to bill miscellaneous general government for the cleaning fee.
I'll second that motion.
motion and a second. Any discussion? Just noting number 13 is an approval of denying location change. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Consent agenda is approved as stated by Commissioner Carter. And we have no walk-in on items. No, he's not. So we will sign. We do have an open record public hearing at 3 p.m.
Hello, Deborah.
Hello.
Hello, Tom.
Hey.
I emailed you.
I saw it.
Okay.
Yeah, get together sometime today or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm done in about 6 minutes, if you will hang.
Do you want to time it?
Let's go.
It's 14:23.
I got people to talk to.
It's your AP batch.
I sent you the title report.
Do you want me to just stop timing
Okay.
when
I just
you
got it.
are done signing?
Where did that come from?
From the people that were speaking. Central services.
Okay, I feel bad.
We don't have to put it on consent. It's,
As far as I know, public comment
I've already
is
received
only
direction from the board to
one
do it,
I
so.
don't think the interaction is supposed to be during public.
Can we not do it though?
Yeah, you guys usually
Well-
do, but I learned that this week, last
Well, let
week,
me ask.
that public comment should be only.
What am I signing my life?
I
Oh,
don't think it is. I don't
1.2
think
million.
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
It seems like something maybe you should have looked at before you.
No, I
I've heard
knew.
that many
Oh,
times
I
before,
just,
but
it was
our
pretty
board is
fancy
very
paper.
Yeah, well, through direction. Yeah, you guys directed me to do it, so.
$1.228 million for
Works for them.
Freda Family Dentistry Building upgrades.
Yes.
Hey, Cindy,
Uh-huh.
we just received the title report from Chris Reese on that property we plan to offer on.
Date's wrong.
I think we're good to go ahead and deliver that. I was directed by the board to go ahead and make the offer. So
Okay, so we don't need to.
I don't think we need to put it on consent because I was directed in my last meeting to go and do that.
Okay.
So,
No, I just want
So
to
I'll
make
just
sure we're
take
not
up
doing
request.
anything that we shouldn't be doing.
yeah, no, I don't think we are in that
For
case.
$2,406 each for Keith Conley, Evan Little, Tom Gaines.
Travel.
Travel for the corner.
For the coroner to travel,
Um,
$3,745. That's probably a great time.
Minutes for the week of February 17th.
That'd be cool to go to that, NACO.
yeah. I mean, they just announced, so there's plenty of room. I mean,
Not for me though, sadly.
Minutes for the week of February 24th.
I would go. Cindy should take a look at it.
I think at least two of you should plan on doing
For
the,
the TS portion of it?
No, it's actually, it's a national conference.
it's a national conference. There's a lot more. There's IT centric stuff there, but it's a wide open conference with lots of stuff. I would
The one in
highly,
July?
yeah,
Oh, then you're going to the NACO, okay, all
Yeah,
the leaders go.
but-
Okay, I was
but
thinking
I
it was
would-
just for TS.
I would highly suggest that at least two commissioners go to that legislative conference.
No,
again.
I agree.
Minutes for the week of March 10th.
That, it's not, I want to say, is it in, I'll go look, they've got
Just
the
got
dates.
back.
Yeah, but no, but it's a different month.
Oh.
So they've got the dates on the NACO site.
July, I'm in Southern Oregon and Idaho for those
I think
dates.
it's in January.
January, I'm better.
What's in July then? They have something towards the end of July.
Well, they've got,
Sage and Sun.
they've got 10 or 12 different conferences.
I got
throughout
that
the
in
year, so.
early, that's cool.
The one that I'm suggesting Joe go to is the AI Roadshow, which is specific just to AI.
Sorry you
So-
weren't elected letter.
They're both in here?
I'm gonna slide these your way. There you go.
Because if you denied that one election, one you wouldn't sign one. Do you want the original of this back?
No,
Okay, so
I
you
can just
don't
take
need
a
to
copy.
move, you can move forward on that. I'll
Yeah.
put it in your quick for us.
This is a recommendation of appointment for the
Sorry,
at-large
I just wanna
position.
make
No, don't
sure
be,
we're
don't
not
be.
doing anything that
Don't
we
be.
shouldn't be doing. Don't need any of my friends come after me.
The denial of the change of location for the license.
Go ahead and show us, Joe.
It's,
Emily.
yep. It's the ghost of Caitlin Pass.
Tom was running it. But
Were
now
you up
he's
there
here.
running upstairs?
Yep, he went from a D- to an A on the button push.
Heck yeah.
We're getting you trained.
Cross-training. It's important.
Gotta know what buttons to push.
This is a request to move the ARPA funds.
Rich.
Reimbursement request from McKay.
14,000.
Reimbursement request from New Hope,
Didn't remember that number.
32.
Yep.
And some change. Reimbursement request from New Hope, 28 and some change.
More close to 29.
This is a request to waive the fees at the fairgrounds.
I just emailed. And I CC'd you on it to. Bill Nissen's general government. So he's over budget.
is the updated Lexipol Master Services Agreement.
Update,
It's updated,
amended.
amended. Authorization to call for bids.
For broom wafers and a rock.
I'm just like, look at you, you're just spending those papers, and you can transfer calls.
And I can push a button.
Oh,
Can make somebody.
You're our backup.
One day. I'm getting there.
moving up in the world.
This is the nuance that you can't get this experience just anywhere.
It's hands-on training talk.
See how you did
Request
that?
to surplus and
Need
incinerate.
help?
I mean, it feels fine. It got a little warm there. If I get warm, that means it's really warm.
It's nice outside.
It's real nice outside.
And why are we
Purchase
here?
order,
Why don't we
Lexipol.
show our windshield and stuff?
If you ever move the commissioners again, you should do like one of those little bistro roll-up garage doors.
Yeah.
So you can just be staring at the grass.
Absolutely.
You know, like little rodents running.
You know, there was talk about turning that Eagles booth at the fairgrounds into an elected official kind of hangout during fair.
So whose idea was that?
Jim's?
Jim?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Good
There
God.
was gonna be, there was gonna be a bar and everything.
What a horrible idea.
This is the one right up there at the,
I give the public funds. See electeds hanging out.
well, then everybody in the public would know where they were.
They wouldn't be there if the public
Wait, we could
expected them to be
the
there.
Republican, don't we have to do that? building?
We have to do something with
The
that building.
Republican.
Yeah, Victor Lombardi called him, yeah, so.
I've heard coffee with the councilman. $5.
Beers with the BOCC. Wow.
That would be terrible.
I have to
Beer
sit with
OCC.
someone and drink the beer. It's gonna cost them more than $5.
Well, I don't drink, so.
Exactly.
I know it's
All
your-
right, as soon as Cindy's done signing, we will go into recess until 3 p.m.
What's the public hearing?
I
It's the
forgot.
amendment to the Grant County Code to add
For
chapter ten
sidewalks.
point 5. Walkway surface maintenance.
Okay,
on
we're
county
going in
roads.
recess now, ending our weekly commission meeting at 2:33 p.m. and we will be back at 3 p.m. for an open record public hearing.
You have to put it in a couple of times.
Good afternoon, it is Tuesday, March 25th, 3 p.m. and we're here for an open record public hearing to consider Grant County Public Works ordinance establishing walkway surface maintenance along county roads via RCW 47.48.010 and establish a new chapter 10.50 of the Grant County Code entitled Walkway Surface Maintenance Along County Roads. Also, resolution number 25-023-CC. To give us an overview, we have Road Supervisor John Brissy and Engineer Dave Brent.
Thank you. So this is a practical middle approach to a maintenance problem that we have had for a long time. So we have 2,500 miles of road, and then spread out around the county in different places, we have some sidewalk. Mattawa and around the city of Moses Lake, some sidewalk. But in addition, we have some paths and trails as well. And it is not feasible for our road maintenance staff to maintain them because they're so spread out, A, but B, we don't even have the equipment to maintain them. We have very large trucks. If our main focus is to get the snow and debris off of that 2,500 miles of road. So we will never get to the snow on a sidewalk that's in a little piece of the city, or UGA, if you will, in this Moses Lake. So this is a practical kind of middle approach. I noticed that many of the cities, Ephrata, City of Moses Lake, they have gone to a higher standard. They basically said that the frontage property owner has to both maintain the sidewalk and even replace it. That's not what this is saying. This is saying that that we're asking those fronting property owners to only maintain it if there is broken up sidewalk, if there's physical problems to that sidewalk, the county will still replace the sidewalk. So it's a maintenance only. So that's why I'm saying it's a practical approach, and it's in the middle, rather than going all the way to the point where we're requiring those fronting property owners to actually replace the sidewalk, which is exactly what they have in the city of Moses Lake, Spokane, and the city of Ephrata. We are middle ground. Let's take a look at a little bit. What this does is create a new section, and there's a couple key points to that. So I think you have a second page in there that describes the sidewalks, trails, and footpaths. And then reading the actual duty, which is the 10-50-30 walkway surface maintenance along county roads. So this is the actual duty that we're putting in there. We're describing what it is, and then the duty is, it shall be the duty of the persons occupying property or the legal property owner, if the property is vacant, to provide walkway surface maintenance for sidewalks, trails, and footpaths along county road frontage adjacent to their property. Walkway surface maintenance includes keeping sidewalks, trails, or paths free of snow, ice, winter sand, obstructions, and other objectionable things. Typically for most of the year, that's gonna be garbage. And like this last year, we didn't really have much snow. So there's gonna be years where snow won't be an issue. So there is the practical issue of our crews just will not be able to get there and maintenance it. Then B, there's the liability aspect to it. If we can't get there, where does the liability fall? Then there's the third element that we're not asking them to replace it if it's damaged. We'll do that, but we're asking them just to maintain it, brush it off, get the garbage off. Most of the time, it'll be a garbage issue, if you will. So that is what is before you. Is with this would be in addition to the code. So it's a new section that it would add into the code. Matt, do you have further?
As well as not be able to get to is a manpower issue. You know, we can't hire enough people that could take care of those sidewalks, but then the rest of the year is overkill in manpower, so to speak. So it's just not practical at all for us to be able to try to keep those clear. We don't have the equipment, we don't have the manpower. It just wouldn't work either way.
Do you feel that most of those people out in that county already take care of their sidewalks in these areas, or is it a problem?
No, I don't believe so. Most people don't pay any attention to them, quite honestly. We do a lot of repairs on them, which we are saying we will do, but I don't believe most of the people keep them clear either. And that is, like say, requirement of the cities is to do that.
That removes liability from the county.
Right.
Yes.
I have no other questions.
I think it's great.
All right, anything else? No? All right, we will now open up the public comment portion of this hearing. There are no audience. We have one call-in user.
We do. Cami, I'm gonna push the button to unmute you. Cami, do you have public comment today? Tina?
I'll entertain a motion to close the public comment portion of this hearing.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion passes. Public comment portion has been closed. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve resolution 25-023.
I apologize. The resolution was to set the hearing, so you're passing an ordinance today
Oh,
with no
sorry.
number given.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve this hearing, updating chapter 10.5 of the Grant County Code titled Walkway Service Maintenance Along County Roads. Thank you, Barb, for clarifying.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes to approve the establishment of walkway service maintenance along county roads via RCW 47.48.010 and establish new chapter 10.50 of Grant County Code entitled Walkway Service Maintenance Along County Roads. Thank you. This concludes our hearing at 3:07 p.m.
What happens when I scroll too much? I'm looking at the ordinance and the resolution, and Caitlin's got this memorized. I don't know how she had it. It's a 3 o'clock hearing.
That's a big deal for maintenance.
Are we good? All right, we are going to sign off for today. It is 3:08
We'll have to open it up for your 3:30.
p.m., but that's just a single commissioner.
Yes, so we'll have to open it up because it's advertised for a little bit.
Oh,
So
okay.
you just have to open it up at that time and then announce that it's.
So at 3:30 p.m., we will be back. I will be back with DA Davidson due diligence, continuing disclosure and information, but we will not be online.
Correct.
Or recorded. Thank you. Afternoon, it is 3:33 p.m. and we are here for a DA Davidson due diligence continuing disclosure information meeting. We do not have the quorum of the Board of County Commissioners. I will be the only one attending this meeting. So we are not going to record and be live for this meeting. So our session for the Board of County Commissioners ends today at 3:33 p.m. I hope call-in users have a great day. Jim, we will be moving you to a separate room for your meeting.